A free carrot ring. Truth revealed, darkness congregating, mobster lawyer, chilling to the bone. What on earth would you not do to bring fiasco home? The fix is in the actors in the light. Some things we just know, even when the strong ain't right. The fix is in not worry about a thing. Good prevails, so let me hear you sing. But none of it bears relevance. Parsing out the parlance, 47 down to 10. What's done is done, and here we are again. Some things we just know, even when the strong ain't right. The fix is in, not worry about a thing. Good prevails, so let me hear you sing. So have faith, justice will prevail. Can you feel it? The thinning of the veil. Black, white, day, night, the Commonwealth derails. Sit down, motherfucker. Sit down, weasel demon. Hush now, talking cheap. The universe sees what you're doing. Around the world, sending love and light to Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. Our outrage fuels the fight. The fix is in the actors in the light. Some things we just know, even when the strong ain't right. The fix is in, not worry about it, not a thing. Good prevails, so just let me hear you sing. It's disgusting, it's exhausting, but if she can't do it, so can we. We ain't got no quit, justice prevails. Free Karen Reed.
Hey, shorties. Hi, shorties. Hi. Oh, woo. Hi, puppies. Oh, my goodness. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, Free Karen Reed. You know the drill. Pig's ears. Pig DNA. I wonder where that could have come on. I wonder where pig DNA could have come from, chat. Wild. Hang on, wait. This one's bigger. That's what she said. Hi. Hi. Steph, hi. This song makes me feel emotional. Speaking of Steph, sit down, Weasel Demon. Yes. Sit down, Weasel Demon. The universe sees what you're doing around the world. From what I can't even remember my own lyrics. Yikes. Woo. Thanks, Steph. Who else? Hi. Hi. Princey, hi. Kathy. Wait. Kathy, hi. Simmy, hi. I'll have to put my glasses on in a minute before motion to scream what the fuck granted says. Girl, put your glasses on. You look like an idiot squinting, but I come on now. I only wear glasses when we're live streaming. I don't wear them in my regular life. Hi, Teresa. Good to see you. Simmy, Steph. Who else? Who else? Laura. Amazing. Hey, I can see today. Won't last long. Yikes, yikes, yikes. I see. Who else is here? You crunchy, munchy honey cakes go over there. Pig's ear kids. Factual lie. Factual lie. Popping in to hit the like button and say hi. Hi. Replay crew. That's a good reminder. Replay crew, hi. Thank you for stopping by after the fact. If you would like to watch the live chat replay on your handheld device, your mobile, your tablet, iPad, whatever, all you need to do is to swipe left on the comment tab and it will give you the option to watch the live chat replay instead. Cool. Cool. What else? Hey, leave a comment after the stream if you're in chat now, or if you're watching replay. It really helps, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. While I think of it, I didn't get a chance to share this out onto my ex. I'll do it in a minute, but it really also helps sharing out the live stream to your social media to let people know we're live. It helps. And hit that flying heart while the live's going. If you hit the flying heart, it sends YouTube, like the algorithm, an in real time reminder that, hey, well, not reminder, sends a message to the algo to say, hey, I like this. I like Dr. Wolfe. I like the Crash Daddies. I don't like the Weasel Demons. Salty Sleuth's here. Hi, why am I not a member? I'm not sure. Weird. Maybe you're something. We were got an email. Yes, hit that flying heart. Thank you. And hit the like. Of course, do all the YouTubey things. So we did a bit of a motion to scream what the fuck granted, who is basically my brain, like, thank God, suggested that all y'all would like to probably talk about the Crash Daddy himself, Dr. Wolfe, the perennial consummate professional, proper science and stuff. So we will do that tonight, even though technically this was going to be recap from forever ago, Monday, Tuesday, in week 7 of the Karen retrial. We'll do that tomorrow night. Speaking of tomorrow night, wait, pause, hold that thought. Hi, Anya. I see Akasha's here as well. Akasha. Hi, Brian. I'm driving, friends. Cool. Tomorrow night, Salty Sleuth Investigates, our 13th juror, will be joining me for Salty. I haven't told you yet, but we're going to just do a kind of a quick recap, like an hour and a half. I think I've got an hour and a half scheduled. So we'll have a chat from 8 Eastern. It's scheduled. So that's 10 a.m. Melbourne time, Australia time, to see where she's at this point in the trial. I have a feeling, Dimple Daddy, I have a feeling that maybe Salty Sleuth's what the fuck has grown into an enormous what the actual fuck. Looking forward to it too. Akasha, I don't know, Brian. It was my voice text. Hey, look, and speaking of motion to scream what the fuck granted, which were we? Always. The answer to motion to scream what the fuck granted is yes. But this clever lady worked out how to update our stream elements. So Salty, you are now a exclamation point Salty in our stream elements, among other things. So there it is. Some sneakies. So I'm a baffled here. Where my mouse goes. No, you just used me 3 seconds ago. I'm going to go to sleep. It was quite a trial day. I mean, I literally just finished end of day testimony about 5 minutes before the hour. I was watching through Andrea Burkhart. So it was on 1.7 speed. It's the only way to do Hank Brennan. just to get there because stupid time difference and stupid work and all that stupid stuff. But anyway, so I'm feeling heavily underprepared. But as I just mentioned, motion to scream what the fuck granted is my brain. Thank God, because mine is scrambled eggs. So I pose at this point, I put my glasses on, but they're not clean. Wait, did I? Pause. Walk and talk, chat. Walk and talk. Talk. Laura, his voice. Hi, what the fuck?
Hi.
Hi, wait, I got to put you on screen. Hang on. Well,
You don't have to.
clip it. Hi, what do we got? Day 28 of week 7 of the Macrame Retrial. Everybody, this is motion to scream what the fuck granted.
Hi. Yeah, so it was quite the day that just ended, basically, right? So threw this together pretty quickly since it was so interesting.
Thank you so much. It was so interesting. And Princey just said motion is the lady behind the curtain. A cat curtain, no less.
Indeed.
So it was Alan Jackson. I'm glad. What the fuck? Are you glad that Alan did this, not Mr. Alessi? And you know, I love Mr. Alessi, but I was glad Alan did this direct exam. What about you?
I was definitely glad. I think that having that kind of bite that AJ has was perfect for this, and then also, you know, being able to not necessarily fall into the science as much, keep it more surface level, was appropriate for this one.
And they have a rapport from previous trials, hearings, and I believe that Alan Jackson is the contact person through Signal for for Dr. Wolfe, Daniel Wolfe. There it is. My brain has not been able to remember his name all day. Seriously. So it kind of makes sense that they continue that repartee between each other, and I think. Yeah, I was glad and love me some Alan Jackson. Love me some Alan Jackson. When I redid the thumbnail, I intentionally put myself between Dr. Wolfe, the picture of me between Dr. Wolfe and Alan Jackson. It's like a Miss Shorty sandwich. Yes, between the hunks. So he's the director of the accident reconstruction of ARCA. But it's only been since for a year and a half, said Hank. Oh my God. Yeah, but Shannon Burgess and Welcher. Oh no, Welcher's a vice president. Oh no, it's still no good because he's just a man in blue.
Right, indeed. So would you like to start going through some of the testimony?
Yes. Poppy, I love you. Hang on. Stuff on my stupid thing. Yes, please do. Let me get this up. That's what she said. Also, by the way, we've got a hard stop tonight because at 9 Eastern, I'll be guesting on Feral Friday, publicly buzzed Feral Friday. We're going to watch Frankenhooker, so we'll finish it by then, everybody, and then we'll start on YouTube and then head over to Kick. Also, speaking of Kick, tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern, we're going to watch the final 2 episodes of A Body in the Snow together on Kick, again starting on YouTube and then heading over to Kick. So I think that's all the housekeeping. Now I've got well, do you want to? Yes. Do you want me to? I can, you can. I'm a little bit discombobulated.
You, me,
you. Make it you. It's all about you.
Okay. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh my God, these dogs. Jeez, you guys. I'll just say hi to a few people. Hang on. Britt Ketchell's lurking. She's got a day out with the kids today. Lovely. Sherry Berry's here. Hello, Shorty. Family. Popping in to give a like and hello. Have a date night with the kiddos. I'll catch the rest on replay. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Eric's saying hi, Wonder Woman. Hi. Good to see you, Eric. If I've missed anybody saying hi, I apologize. Poppy's Bussy's having a drink down there right below my microphone. Lovely.
Nice. Alrighty. So there we go.
We'll see. Thank you.
I think I need new glasses. Neither's better.
It's on 2 times. I'll slow it down a little bit. This is how I watch it.
Same. 1.7. I was getting really agitated by the 1.7 because it was Hank being a fuckwit on 1.7.
Sir, we're going to try and keep the
Yeah.
keep the air conditioning on this morning, so I'm going to ask you to speak really loudly into that microphone. And Mr. Jackson, you do so as well, please. Okay.
Of course, Your Honor. Dr. Wolfe, could you please state your entire name and spell your last name for the jurors, please?
Daniel Michael Wolfe, last name spelled W-O-L-F-E.
May I inquire, Your Honor?
Yes.
Dr. Wolfe, what do you do for a living, sir?
I am the director of accident reconstruction at a company known as ARCA, A-R-C-C-A.
And I'm going to start right off the bat, getting really comfortable with that microphone. It's adjustable. Pull it right close to the area of your chin. It's really loud in there.
Test.
Dr. Wolfe, you said you work for ARCA,
Copy, for goodness
A-R-C-C-A. What is ARCA?
ARCA is a forensic engineering consulting firm. We have a variety of disciplines: accident reconstruction, which is the group I'm a part of, biomechanics, failure analysis, and crashworthiness.
And you said that your title again, one more time?
The director of the accident reconstruction team.
And what sort of contracts does ARCA normally engage in routinely?
So in addition to our forensic consulting work, we have, going back in time, we've dealt with doing contracts with the Department of Defense, where we designed energy-absorbing seats for MRAP vehicles, mine-resistant armored protective vehicles.
Hi, Storm.
Where
Good to
these
see you.
vehicles were going over explosive devices, and the energy from those explosions was going through the vehicle into the
Pause for a
occupant. So
moment,
ARCA
please, Ms. What the
designed
fuck?
energy-absorbing seats to help.
I used a photo from the I think it was actually from last trial for the thumbnail. Dr. Wolfe has changed his hairstyle slightly, so apologies, Dr. Wolfe, for using an old photo. You're just as glorious, and I think he's got a receding hairline, and he will be just as glorious when he is bald as a baby's bottom as he is right now. Is that a good analogy? No.
Sure. Okay.
Sure. Baby's bottoms, you just want to see with Dr. Wolfe.
Mitigate the injuries in that type of in those types of incidents. We also do work for the National Hockey League. I myself am part of that work. It has to do with scanning and analyzing player pads, but we certainly do impact testing and help set guidelines for player safety.
With regard to those MRAP vehicles, was that contract for the Department of Defense for the United States government?
Yes, sir.
For the military?
Correct.
Is ARCA both nationally and internationally recognized as a leader in accident reconstruction?
Okay. Sustained.
Does ARCA have a reputation, or let me ask it this way. Does ARCA entertain or engage both domestic and international contracts and clientele?
Yes.
As the director of accident reconstruction, do you specialize in anything other than just accident reconstruction, anything having to do with human factors?
Yes. So my other specialties in addition to accident reconstruction are lighting and human factors.
What is, give us a
Pause,
25-word overview.
please.
Of-
What was I watching, listening to? Oh my God. Oh, human factors. Was it Truth Revealed? No. Was it JD the lawyer? Tony DeWitt? Someone, I think it was JD, a lawyer, whatever his channel is called. I've only just learned about it. And he was talking about human factor and factors. And I feel like I'd never heard that term before. It's kind of cool. The human factors that contribute to outcomes, negative or positive, with regards to situations, machinery, etc. Human factors. Love. Obviously, it's sort of pretty indicative just by way of its title, but I didn't know about it until yesterday, officially. Buster.
Human factors.
Accidents, yes, Princey.
So to give you a good example of that is, and again, this is a case that I commonly see, but let's say you're driving down the road at night. It's an unlit roadway. You're relying on your vehicle headlights to see the roadway ahead, right? And you've got a pedestrian that is entering the roadway. And you want to have an understanding based upon the lighting conditions, how much sky illumination there is, their clothing, right? When would a driver recognize that individual on the roadway? So that's where it starts from the vision aspect of human factors. Then we get into driver response, right? So the driver is presented with a hazard. So how do drivers typically respond to it? What are their actions and how long does that take to avoid and initiate a reaction?
That's human factors. Can you do the same thing and give us an explanation for accident reconstruction just in the broadest sense? What is that discipline?
I think a very simple definition of accident reconstruction is the application of physics and engineering science to collision events.
What role do you take as the director of accident reconstruction for ARCA as contracts come in or engagements come in?
Well, my scope in cases can vary greatly. As I just mentioned, I could have a case where I'm assessing the conspicuity of a pedestrian and a driver's response time. It could be a 50-car pileup on a highway and I'm trying to figure out a sequence of events. It could be a rear end collision where a seat back has failed in the vehicle and the occupant has sustained injuries. And we want to have an understanding of the crush, the damage, the forces. So again, it can vary case to case.
Do you engage in reconstruction or attempt to engage in reconstruction of all sorts of passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles?
Yes.
What about motorcycles?
Yes.
Bicycles?
Yes.
Involving pedestrians and sometimes involving no pedestrians?
Yes, I see all types of collisions.
How many
But
cases,
can you
if
send
you
a
have a
Lexus
number
into
in mind?
space, sir? Can you send a Lexus into space? Maybe.
If anybody can, it's definitely Dr. Wolfe.
You have a very good point. What the fuck? Very good point.
Have you been
Yes, Buster.
There's like a lot of background that we probably can skip, but there is like one point coming up that I know is important.
Perfect.
part of in
How
terms
slimy
of
Hank made
engaging in-
everything. Sorry, how slimy Hank made everything nefarious. He's just vile. Who was saying this just a little bit further along? My God, can't remember who it was. It was out of the 16 of you watching, but basically, even though Hank's doing his darndest, even there's so much the jury doesn't know, like compared to what we know, there's been so much not presented, whether that's the Commonwealth or whether it's the defense that are going to choose to not sort of chase those rabbits down holes for the jury. The vibe that Hank gives, I know we're not there yet, thank God, it is so palpable. I don't think it's just because we're Free Karen Reid and he's our opposition, in her opposition, he's the Commonwealth. I think that's something that mostly every human being picks up on. And he's yuck. He's yuck to every one of these. He was even yuck on his redirects of his own witnesses. You know, he's very aggressive. So I think anxious, but I feel okay about it. Anyway, carry on for this important point. Thank you.
Okay.
in accident reconstruction broadly?
That's something that I don't track, but I've been with the company now for over 8 years. So at this point, if I had to estimate, it's well over 1,000 at this point.
What education, training, and background do you have that allows you to perform the duties that you've described for these jurors in terms of accident reconstruction
Michael
and human
Lurkin.
factors analyses?
In terms of, are you looking at additional training?
No,
or
let's start with your education. I want
Absolutely,
education, training, and background, but we can do them in order.
Okay, yeah. So we'll go back to 2012. I received a Bachelor of Science in Engineering from James Madison University, along with a minor in mathematics. Some of my courses included physics, statics, dynamics, thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, your engineering sciences. Subsequent to that, I then went on to pursue my PhD in electrical and computer engineering with a concentration in electromagnetics and photonics. So my coursework while doing my PhD included optoelectronics, semiconductor physics, basically how to guide light on semiconductor devices.
Did you write a dissertation to get your PhD?
Yes.
What was the subject matter broadly of the dissertation that you drafted?
So my dissertation focused on a technology called smart glass. So you may have seen this technology where if you've seen a pane of glass that is transparent, somebody flips a switch and it goes opaque. That's a type of smart glass technology. So my PhD involved developing a new type of novel, what we coined optofluidic smart glass. So we are using geometric structures that we've optically designed to create a very reflective surface or medium, if you will. And then through the introduction of various fluids, we can then modulate the amount of visible light and electromagnetic energy that is passing through or being reflected. So not just visible light, but also energy that you can't see. As part of that process, I ended up prototyping these structures with a 3D printer that was capable of printing 3D printable polymers. And as we kind of got towards the end of my work, we looked at how we could scale this up on a larger scale. We ultimately ended up researching and doing tests with a material known as polymethyl methacrylate, which is PMMA or acrylic.
What
This right here.
relevance does PMMA play in terms of this case?
So with respect to this case, the outer lens and the clear plastic diffusers of the taillights on the Lexus are comprised entirely of polymethyl methacrylate, or that PMMA material.
The same material that was the subject of your dissertation.
Correct.
What additional training and experience do you have as it relates to accident reconstruction beyond your BS and your PhD?
So certainly the 8 years of work that I've had at ARCA has certainly trained and taught me a lot over the last 8 years. Like I said, I've seen hundreds of collisions, all different types of accidents. But
Okay, so he's super knowledgeable.
It's like he's like the Dr. Marie Russell
Yes.
of like he you know, his dissertation was what, probably 20 years ago, did he say? I wasn't paying attention, but you know, or 15, let's say 15 years ago, you know, all of everything, he was the perfect guy to do an analysis or a investigation and experiments. And boy, did he do some experiments. Oh my God, I can't wait to watch some of them, because I was mostly listening, half of it in my sleep. I kept having to go back because, yeah, sleep. But he really is, you couldn't, for Hank to, I know we're not there yet, but for Hank to try and slime ball and make him, and smear him, is kind of wild. Same with Dr. Marie Russell, like, get the fuck out of here, Hank. So far, every witness that the defense has brought in my opinion, have been perfect. I don't know about not calling Higgins. I'm okay with not calling Brian Al, but I kind of get not calling Proctor. But
That's a hard one. Oh, those are so hard. I could see it both ways on each of them.
for me, I think I started watching, and I haven't gotten all the way through it, but I started watching from 8 months ago, Sergio, Truth Revealed, his series of very minutely breaking down Brian Higgins' testimony. And all the stuff that I vibed with at the time, having him put those things into a really detailed analysis is very helpful. But I'm really in tune to all that kind of stuff. I don't know the jurors. Oh my God, the jurors! Please, the jurors. Please.
I
The
know.
trial channel. Ta-da! Girl, good to see you.
Hey. Yeah, I'm so excited to, I hope they actually speak out, and I hope they're not, so sorry, Ronnie, but I hope they're not Ronnie's. I hope they're not like,
I couldn't actually watch the Ronnie interview. I've heard people say snippets of the gist of what he said and a few sort of, you know, quotes from him, and I couldn't be so horrified. And I know that people are idiots, right? Oh my God! Surely they pick. Oh my God! It all rides on the jury. Obviously, they're the fact finders. Like, obviously. Oh my God! I'm clenching my hands so tight. I'm white knuckling, even through my fake tan.
all right. Well, let's get back into the testimony, and I'm going to skip a whole bunch of stuff because it's like we know that they were hired independently. They weren't allowed to say FBI, of course. And then, let's see, this is an important part. So we'll jump in here.
In an analysis that basically allowed you to think of any scenario.
I think that's fair, yes.
In your initial analysis, did you note damage to the vehicle?
Yes.
Describe the damage. Let's start with the vehicle. Describe the damage that you noted in furtherance of your analysis.
The primary damage was to the right rear taillight on the quarter panel section. The majority of the outer red lens was broken and shattered, as well as some of the underlying components and diffusers that are underneath that outer layer as well as some damage to the back portion of the taillight.
Can I stop you right there? Describe when you say the outer lens material and some interior material as well was damaged. Describe that in detail for us.
So the outer lens is red, and it's about 5 millimeters in thickness, and it basically encompasses the majority of that quarter panel taillight. And then there's a small segment that is clear, that is for the turn signal indicator, which is yellow. Underneath that 5 millimeter thick red lens, there are additional diffusers that run along the bottom. There's two rows of those, I believe, and then they also go up vertically on the side, and those are clear. And I think the thicknesses of those are about 3 millimeters.
Is 5 millimeters of PMMC, have I got that right? PMMA?
You call it acrylic. That's the more common name.
Easier for me. Is 5 millimeters of that acrylic, that outer lens material, is that considered thick or thin in terms of just sort of what we'd see on a taillight?
I would describe that as a pretty thick piece of plastic. It's certainly by no means, you can't, if you had a segment of it and you try to bend it, it's not going to bend.
In addition to that outer taillight material, that acrylic, in terms of the information that you received, did the interior acrylic also have damage to it?
Yes, those clear diffusers that, again, there's 2 rows of those, and they also went up vertically. Those were shattered and broken as well.
Was that important to you in your ultimate analysis?
Yes.
Did you note any superficial scratches or dents anywhere on the tailgate area or the liftgate area?
Yes, there was a dent and some paint chips, if you will, above the liftgate taillight assembly. So again, that next to that quarter panel taillight, there's another assembly that is on the liftgate, and there was a small dent and some paint chips at that area. There was also on the wraparound section of the bumper cover, as it's going from the rear to the right side, there were some superficial scrapes in that area.
Did you note any other damage or deformation to the Lexus? Deformation in the tail, the liftgate, the bumper, anything like that?
No.
Is it common in a vehicle-pedestrian collision that there is some sort of bumper deformation that's associated with a vehicle-pedestrian incident?
That can certainly occur if a pedestrian is in an normal upright position. You can certainly get displacement of the bumper.
Did you see any displacement or panel deformation on the Lexus?
No.
Is it more common that there's panel displacement or deformation if the collision is above, say, 10 or 15 miles an hour?
Yes.
During your review of all the investigative materials, did you note any items of evidence that were recovered or claimed to have been recovered on the bumper itself?
I recall there were 2 or 3 apparent glass fragments.
What's the significance of that? Let me ask it differently. Is there any glass in the taillight assembly? May I ask that again?
Yes.
Is there any glass in the taillight assembly?
No.
Was there any shattered glass anywhere on the Lexus? Meaning panes of glass, the back window, quarter panel windows, anything like that?
No.
Did you have any understanding at that time of what the Commonwealth's theory of the case was when you began your initial analysis? Did you have any indication of what the Massachusetts State Police theory of the case was based on the investigative reports?
I did not vote for Welcher.
Did you perform an accident reconstruction analysis to determine whether or not the damage to the Lexus, that taillight housing material, was consistent with an interaction with a pedestrian?
Yes.
Specifically, did you perform an accident reconstruction to determine whether the damage to the Lexus was consistent with?
Miss Shorty, you're muted. Miss Shorty, you're muted.
How did that? Oh, because I was typing. Yes. Thank you. How good is that soundbite? Pause. Did I mention in my all the things that are happening on Camp Shorty this weekend? I don't think I did. On your Sunday night, my Monday, it's the King's birthday national holiday here in Australia. So I have the day off from work. Thank God, because I did a 12-hour shift yesterday. Fuck my life. But there's relevance here. Ms. Colours Flight, who is probably still asleep. What? And Tony P, he of the Uncivil Law Moderators Squad and friend of the channel. The 3 of us, so Colours, Tony, and I, are going to have just a chit chat about theories, law stuff, strategy, Karen Reid trial stuff on Sunday night at 9 Eastern, your time, which is 11 Australia time, Melbourne time. So yay, can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. So carry on, Ms. What the fuck. Thank you.
An interaction with John O'Keefe based on the injuries that you were aware of?
Yes.
Did you evaluate whether the investigative theories regarding, let me ask it a different way. Did you consider the possibility of Mr. O'Keefe's head striking the taillight?
Yes.
Did you consider the possibility of Mr. O'Keefe's arm striking the taillight?
Yes.
Did you entertain the possibility that Mr. O'Keefe's center of mass, his body, struck the taillight?
Yes.
Hey, Grass, good to see you.
Before we get into the initial testing, were you able to come to opinions and conclusions concerning those things that I just mentioned?
Yes.
Did you also entertain the possibility that a drinking glass could have damaged the taillight?
Yes.
Were these some of the things that you were sort of, it was left open to you to decide yourself?
Yes.
Did you later provide all of those opinions and conclusions in a report to the entity that hired you?
Yes.
Is your understanding that those reports were then later supplied to both sides here in this case?
That was my understanding, yes.
Did you testify about those initial testing opinions and conclusions at a proceeding last year?
Yes.
Let's talk for a second about that initial testing that you conducted in connection with this case. When approximately did you begin your testing? And I'm going to phrase it as your initial testing, the testing that you testified to about last year. When did you start that initial testing?
From what I recall, it would have been late 2023 into early 2024.
Which is quite late, isn't it, in the timeline of things?
I want to talk about the drinking glass first. Did you?
It's quite late in the timeline between 29. But obviously they took the feds a little while to go, hey, what the fuck about this Norfolk County business? Oh, to be a fly on the wall in all those Fed discussions and communications, right? What the fuck?
Yeah, no kidding. It makes you wonder, how they decided to do everything in what order. Kind of like, I don't know, it kind of takes me back to the Adelson stuff and how they do it. They're doing everything in a specific order, right? It makes you wonder how they're deciding to do everything in this order.
Absolutely. And I'd be interested. I'm looking forward to talk to Tony and Colors about this on Sunday night. But I'm wondering. I don't believe that the Fed investigation is closed. I said what I said. I think it's still going. I do. So, just maybe sitting back and they can say like the Feds can say whatever the fuck they want. Yeah. Imagine to say to maybe they issued that letter or email or phone call to whatever the bullshit story was that your fella, Mr. Yannetti, sort of verified. When was that? In one of the pre-trial motions hearings that the Fed investigation was closed. But Tony says no chance that it's closed. I can't wait to talk about this. Nice. Feds haven't said anything. No, didn't they say no? Well, in court though, Brennan said it. We've been notified. The investigation is closed. Yannetti said yes, he had also received those communications, but the Feds can say whatever they want, as if they wouldn't go, nothing to see here. You guys go back to what you were doing, and these idiots, Meatball Morrissey and everybody else, are going to go, oh, good, they said it's over. Hubris is one hell of a drug, right? So,
right, absolutely. And then, they just arrested somebody else in the area. A sheriff or something like that. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, yes, I saw a little whisper about that.
Yeah. So obviously they're still working in the area. They haven't completely left. So, I don't know.
It's fucking, Anyway.
Did you become aware that there was a drinking glass that was found at the scene?
Yes.
And what was the testing that you sought to determine as it relates to the drinking glass and the taillight?
So looking at the evidence, as I mentioned earlier, when we're looking at that quarter panel taillight, we have an isolated region of damage. And looking at the additional evidence in terms of a broken drinking glass at the scene, we wanted to do testing to determine if a small object or projectile, such as the drinking glass, could induce damage that was consistent with that we saw on the subject Lexus.
Were you able to reach an opinion and or conclusion as it relates to whether or not there is a possibility that the drinking glass or a drinking glass could cause the type of damage that you saw on the Lexus?
Yes.
Given everything else in your investigation, are you concluding that the glass was responsible for the taillight damage?
No.
However, you did seek to determine whether it was possible, correct?
Sustained.
I'll ask it a different way, Your Honor. What testing did you do? Did you undertake in furtherance of answering that specific question? Could the glass damage the taillight?
Right. So we designed a pressurized cannon that was capable of firing the drinking glass into the taillight at various speeds. We aimed for speeds of 30 and 40 miles an hour. Our achieved speeds were at 31 and 37 miles per hour. And we found that in the 37 mile an hour impact, and again, this is to emulate or simulate an individual throwing a drinking glass. The purpose of the cannon, if you will, was to be able to hone in on a speed precisely and obviously aim for that target. So it would just serve as a...
Can you imagine, the jury? The jurors are sitting there, on this one, I was able to put myself into the jurors' shoes somewhat. They saw the stupid blue finger paint bullshit from Welcher, right? And his mismatched, god-awful, collage, not even aligned, formatted nicely in his PowerPoint. And then and the extent of his experiments was a 2 miles per hour blue paint cosplay exercise. And then already how far into the testimony are we of the actual testimony? 10 minutes after his resume, maybe 15, maybe 20. He's already talking about building a fucking cannon, as if that isn't so impactful to the jury. And then when you bring it, and when AJ elicited after the break, and I know we'll get there, about how much they ARCA were paid for this in total versus the staggering, breathtaking amount of 400,000 roughly, and how much proper sciencey shit, proper graphs, proper experiments, multiple experiments, plural, that ARCA did for the bargain basement price of what, 70K?
Yeah.
You can't, the contrast, the juxtaposition of those two groups, Aperture versus ARCA, and the dollars, those jurors would have to be fools to not see that comparison purely on its face. Even if they're jury Ronnie or his equivalent, they have to have been today just thinking, wow, everything wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the juxtaposition is huge, seeing these two teams play against each other. And you do have to hope that it's not so big of a difference that they're thinking, oh, well, fancy lawyers, fancy, witnesses and experts, and oh, she just got money. You got to hope they're not thinking that. And I hope by eliciting the testimony of, oh, we only paid them this amount, that helps the cause of saying that kind of thing, versus the amount that was paid for Aperture. But that is my only worry, because it is such a huge difference, right? Just so huge.
I think also, though, if you're taking the two sides, because the justice system in most countries, and in yours is an adversarial system. So you've got Commonwealth versus defense. You've got government versus defendant. Interesting, though, that even just vibes, all of the Commonwealth witnesses this time round. Am I being overly hyperbolic saying all? No, I think all have felt icky, evasive, kind of ugly personality-wise, and then Hank Brennan, even in his questioning of his own witnesses, just not likable. And then you've got the defense witnesses who are all accommodating and not obstructionary in their or contrarian in their answering, even to Hank Brennan. Like even Marie Russell, Dr. Russell was lovely. They all the defense witnesses, beautiful Karina Kolakithis, Nick Barros, Lucky, this guy, what was the DeSogra? How do you say his name? They all just vibe goodness and like they're amenable. They're kind of lovely. They're easygoing. They're also good looking aesthetically, which sadly the human psychology. I mean, not sadly for us, the human psychology does tend to view good-looking people who vibe, that not just their aesthetic, but their vibe as well, as being better people. But you're right. It could be that Karen in her designer clothes, 10-10, she's gorgeous, with her designer defense team, 4 versus 1 effectively. It's just money in their opinion. But Aperture, 400K from the government. Arca, 70K from the defense.
I do have to point out the trial channel noted that Squirty Bella was brought on by the Commonwealth,
yes.
And Squirty Bella was a boss. So
Squirty Bella, yes. She was a little more resistant this time round to things, but I have a feeling that was because it wasn't Liza Little. Remember how she was nodding and smiling and her body language is encouraging
yes.
Liza, and I think that was a woman to woman thing. And this time I can't even remember what it was. It was on she kind of was defensive and dug in a little bit. Who knows why? Yes. Was there anyone else? Scotty Bello. God, 7 weeks. Who knows? I've forgotten so many witnesses.
Well, we're up to like, it was on the title slide. I can't remember now. It was like 40, 48. Oh, wait, I probably have it written down right here. Or somebody's going to tell us in the chat. It was like, we are on 46. This was the 46th witness.
Right. Hi, the other Jules. Jules says there's a juror who seems to like the contentious cross. She smiles when cross-examination is on. That's not good, in my opinion. Is that the same juror who wasn't taking any notes for? I think it was it Lucky? Apparently, people were taking notes on things. And one of the witnesses, fuck my brain. I need to take more notes. And this one, and it was the. I think it might have been, oh my God, now I'm going to make shit up. Totally going to start a rumor. I feel like that was the guy that got moved. And it was, I think Andrea was wondering about, she looked into the allocation of foreperson in Massachusetts, and it is at the judge's discretion, and it is before the alternates have been chosen. But if this time round, Bev selects not for juror number 1 in that number 1 seat as being the foreperson, we have a fucking problem. And if it's that guy that wasn't taking notes, or this person who, or if it's the same person or not, this juror who's Jules, my brain's thinking, maybe that juror is like me. Like I literally today, I wasn't going, oh my God, Hank, when I was like actually laughing at him. He's laughable. Maybe this juror is smiling because they're going, this guy's a fucking idiot. Could be anything.
That's true. And also during Lucky, I had a hard time taking notes during Lucky, and I take a lot of notes, as you know.
Yes.
But I had a hard time taking notes during Lucky because I was so pulled into him, and like, I felt so. It was so earnest, and then I was so disgusted on the cross. But anyways, that's for tomorrow.
Tomorrow night. It's so hard.
Okay. Do you want me to jump
squirrel?
back in?
A trial squirrel. Yes, jump back in.
Means of getting that projectile to the taillight in a means that we could measure it. And what we observed in the 37 mile an hour test is that we got damage that was generally consistent with that of the subject taillight, and that there was a large portion of the outer lens that was shattered and fractured. as well as the underlying clear plastic diffusers and chrome piece.
Tell me a little bit about the methodology that you undertook, the scientific methodology in building that pneumatic cannon and aiming that glass directly at the taillight.
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, it was a customized cannon, if you will. It had a barrel that was capable of fitting a rocks or an old-fashioned drinking glass in it, and that's a glass that has a thinner sidewall, if you will. I think the glass was about 3 inches in height or so, maybe 3.5 inches, with the bottom portion being solid glass or just a thick piece of glass. So we were able to design a kind of a holder for it, if you will. Almost, you could really think of it as stuffing an actual cannon with a cannonball. So we literally would put the drinking glass in the cannon. There was a pressurized vessel behind that we would open up a valve rapidly, and when it was set to a certain pressure, that would determine the exit velocity that it would leave the barrel at. And we were able to aim that device into the taillight at those specified speeds to be able to determine what would the damage pattern be when we fired that glass.
Were you able, in this scientific experiment, to control for aim and trajectory?
Yes.
Were you able to control for velocity or exit speed of the glass?
Yes.
Were you able to control for damage patterns as it pertained to both the glass as well as the taillight at which it was aimed?
I don't know that we had control over that. Ultimately, physics takes over after that interaction occurs. I can't influence how that material is going to perform or how the glass will break, per se.
The poor question on my part, were you able to, or did you undertake to memorialize the damage pattern that you saw on the taillight and the glass as the glass was projected into the taillight?
Yes.
All right. Did you do that through photographs?
Yes.
High-speed video?
Yes.
And all of that was memorialized in your report?
Correct.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Yo, mofos. Hey, Jody, how you going? Pause for a second. What the fuck? Sorry, sidebar. Sidebar. I just started a Q&A. I don't know what that is. We've never done one before. Chat, tell me how, I don't know, it should be pinned up the top. I don't know. What's your top 5 hotties woods, if you like? I don't know how that's going to look to you guys because it's my channel.
It's a little thing where you type in the top, you click on it and then you can type at the bottom.
And I see somebody's already answered. Unetti is 1 to 5, y'all. Who could that be? Okay, so something chat. We'll have an experiment with that while we're doing this. Thank you, Miss What the Fuck.
Documents that contain 2 photographs each. Can you take a look at those 2 documents and tell me if you recognize those?
Yes.
Does one represent, you mentioned that one of the tests that you performed was at 37 miles an hour, correct?
Correct.
Did you mention the speed at which, or the velocity at which the other test was done?
If I didn't, it was 31 miles per hour.
All right, so 31 and 37. Do you see those 2 documents in front of you?
Yes.
Does one of them represent the 31 mile an hour test and the photographs associated with that?
And an extracted frame from the high speed, yes.
Okay, and does the other one represent the other test, the 37 mile an hour test?
Yes.
We could take those one at a time. May I approach one more time?
So I'm going to do a conversion of my own here. 37 miles. What is that in kilometers? Because that feels fast. But then Andrea said it's not fast to throw something at 37 miles an hour.
Andrea's like a boxer and like a baseball person.
Yes. Oh, baseball. Yes. But for a regular person, a drunk Officer John O'Keefe?
It's probably strong.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. Let me tell you. I'll ask you. Carry on. I'll ask a question of Google.
Okay.
It's my 31 mile an hour test. And it's
So there's no objection?
None. Okay. Sorry.
113?
We have a second document that represents the 37 mile an hour test.
214.
Micah says it's not fast.
Okay.
Charles says John was a coach, though.
Exhibit
Google
213.
says
I'm
no.
sorry, present Exhibit 213.
Says it. Google
Okay,
says
fine.
it's not fast.
Google says sports balls, baseball people can reach speeds of 90 plus miles per hour.
Oh,
That's not a glass. That's a ball. That's an aerodynamic. thing designed to throw a rocks glass. Not so much. Anyway, carry on. My brain.
Is this the photograph that was just marked as Exhibit 213 that's in front of you?
Yes.
Can you explain to the jurors what they're looking at?
So on the left part, you are looking at a frame from the high-speed video just after the contact with the taillight. On the right, you're looking at the post-damage to the taillight after the glass had been fired into it.
And if we could look at the next exhibit with the court's permission.
A 9-year-old
What are we
can
looking
throw
at here?
30 miles per hour.
Same thing on the left.
Wanting to read it?
This is the 37-mile-an-hour test. The glass striking just in the area where the bottom of the turn signal indicator is, so right where it meets the red portion of the lens and the clear portion of the lens. That's about where the impact point was. You could see that a large portion of the...
So this is awesome because we didn't get these pictures last time. Like we didn't actually see
No.
any of their work.
No, because there was what was that? They basically just had to verbalize it all, right? It was still all under order, like
Right. Well, yeah.
secrecy.
They didn't use enough. I don't know. They just didn't use much exhibits, really. So I love how they show everything in this.
According to the aunties on Twitter, this is all explosive stuff. Hank has just nailed it today. Lol. Lol. I was like, wow, you guys are fucking... You guys are... There's so many times now where I go to type something, I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered. Like, not just to shut them down. Like, my favorite one these days is just nope or lol. And
Nope.
and nope.
That's my
One
favorite.
chick came back with a picture, she came back with yeah, and some like a comparison photo of the back of the Lexus in the snow and in the Sally Port. I just like, I said, that whole Photoshop line of questioning, yeah, that, and just left it. But yikes.
Oh,
Yeah, no, these photos are great. Everything was great. I'm so glad to look at them too, because like I said, I was mostly just listening. Yikes.
yeah.
The outer red assembly, lens cover is missing and fractured. The clear portion of the part of the outer lens to the turn signal indicator is also fractured, as well as the underlying clear diffusers in that assembly.
Would your testing in both of these scenarios, the 31-mile-an-hour test and the 37-mile-an-hour test, represent an accepted methodology for controlling for aim, velocity, impact site, and those issues, if you will, as it relates to testing of this sort?
Yes, we were able to control those variables.
And is that an accepted methodology in the area or the field of accident reconstruction?
Absolutely, yes.
When you finished your testing, were you able to make a determination as to whether or not either one of these velocities, the 31-mile-an-hour velocity or the 37-mile-an-hour velocity, were consistent with the damage that you saw on the subject Lexus, which is the 2021 Lexus belonging to Ms. Reed?
Yes, from the 37-mile-per-hour test, we are getting damage that's generally consistent, and that I mentioned we have portions of the outer lens missing, the underlying diffuser. There was also some fracturing on the backside of the assembly. So again, we observed damage that was generally consistent with that of the subject taillight.
And that was the 31 or the 37?
The 37
Yes.
What about the 31?
Yes, Jody, yes.
didn't have enough energy to create that damage.
So were you able to conclude, in your opinion,
These
whether or not
photos are from the
velocity
Canon.
of that glass hitting
Yeah.
the taillight would have to be somewhere in the
Winkler.
vicinity of 37 miles an hour, well above 30 miles an hour?
Well above, and it certainly could have been above 40 miles per hour per se. I mean, we may have actually blown out more of the outer lens had the speed increased.
Did you have any information in the data or documents that you reviewed associated with this case, for instance, that John O'Keefe had a pneumatic cannon with him out there?
No.
Okay. So obviously, well, let me ask a different way. Based on this series of tests, were you concluding that the damage on the taillight conclusively was the product of a glass being hurled into the taillight?
Sustained.
Were you concluding, or did you opine that the damage to the taillight came from a drinking glass?
No, I gave an opinion that the damage was generally consistent with that in the test compared to the subject taillight.
but only in the circumstance where
Ah,
the glass
yes.
is being hurled at
Oh.
37 miles an hour.
Oh, look at those membership. Fuck yeah, gifts. Teresa, I wonder if she's still here. Teresa, you got a gift of membership. Yay, what am I doing? Scrolling. That was one of my 10 that we have to give out a month. 5. I'll do 5 tomorrow night, maybe, or the next night. Yes. And Curious Law Tuber too got a gift of membership. Awesome. Carry on, Ms. What the Fuck. And Carla, free Karen Reed. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Correct?
Sustained. Can ask it differently.
Under what circumstance did you determine that it was consistent with the drinking glass?
If that drinking glass, again, the purpose of the test was to do a test to evaluate or simulating somebody throwing a drinking glass at the taillight. So that's what that test was to demonstrate.
Understood. Let's turn to another test that you undertook regarding the head injuries that you became aware of. Did you become aware of in the data that you received that Mr. O'Keefe had suffered head injuries to the back of his skull?
Yes.
What sort of testing did you do to determine whether or not and under what circumstances that head injury may be connected or associated with the damage to the taillight?
We performed a drop test with a hybrid 3. So that's an instrumented anthropomorphic test device to be able to measure the accelerations on a head form and observe the damage to an impact to the taillight.
What is an ATD, anthropomorphic test device?
So it's a device that's commonly used in our field, and it's certainly approved by the federal government to evaluate crash forces and occupant kinematics, or I should say occupant crash forces. So it's a device that reconstructionists and biomechanists typically use or commonly use to be able to evaluate, like I said, whether it's forces in a motor vehicle, or let's say you have something being dropped on somebody's head or an impact to somebody's body part, right? We can use that instrumented dummy to evaluate and measure the acceleration and the forces.
Another word or another phrase often used in association with ATD devices.
Chat is
are crash
bae.
test dummies.
I
Correct.
love you guys. I got tears in my
Correct.
eyes.
Yes.
Why was it important to do a drop test?
So we wanted to have an understanding based upon the fact that Mr. John O'Keefe had a skull fracture to the back of his head, whether or not an impact, a direct impact between the taillight and the back of his head could have caused that skull fracture.
What did your testing indicate?
When we did the test, the impact to the taillight was at 15 miles per hour, and we observed that the damage to that taillight was significantly
It's so
more
dreamy.
than the subject taillight at the 15
I
mile
don't
an hour
even like
speed.
people, but I
Furthermore,
love
it did not generate, according to my
I was muted. You don't. Never mind. I'm not going to repeat it.
What did you say?
Nothing. It's things I reserve for Unity usually.
Come on now,
colleague,
Dr.
Dr. Rensler,
Wolfe.
enough forces to cause a skull fracture.
So
Wait, I
ultimately,
saved a photo.
what was your conclusion related to the taillight potentially striking John O'Keefe in the head at above 15 miles an hour?
From a damage perspective, it was inconsistent.
Inconsistent.
Correct, inconsistent.
Did you consider temperature and control for temperature in any of your
Pause
tests?
for a sec.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Why is that important?
I think I forgot to post this in the Discord. Wait, let me just change our screens to this. There you go. Did you see that? Did I post that in Discord? That's your man. Wait.
Look at him. He's so handsome.
That must be what? That must be in the 90s, I guess.
Oh,
Look.
gracious. I was just a baby.
Oh my god, you are so cute and little. Oh my god. Okay, wait. I'm gonna put the screens back. I just remembered about that photo. I forgot to post it. So many things. A beautiful looking man, says Laura. Younger yet Eddie. Yes. Okay, Dr. Wolfe, carry on. Yikes. Younger yet Eddie. Ah, he's so dreamy. Something getting head. I always say something. Miss, what the fuck? Can you press play, please? Oh my god. We've lost what the fuck. It's called Crash Test Dummies. That's all the only way you need to pronounce it with Trial Channel.
Just so beautiful.
So
After your
good.
testimony in the first proceeding last year in the spring of 2024.
Hi, Lynn.
Were you ultimately contacted by the defense in this case?
Yes.
When were you contacted by the defense?
I know that I had reached out to you. I believe it was in February of this year because I think I saw some things in the media and was just wondering what was going on.
Sustained. Just when? Just a date, Dr. Wolfe?
I don't know if I could give a specific date. If I had to estimate, sometime in February or March, probably.
Were you still under contract with the other entity that hired you?
Sustained.
This bit is this
At
the
some
bit where
point-
there's all the sustains? No, that's when he was talking about
Correct.
Welcher. Anyway,
Correct.
there's so many.
That was
Countless.
it was February of 2025.
Yes.
Had we spoken at all between the end of your testimony at the proceeding last year and February of 2025?
No, that was the first time.
Did I ask you anything about retaining you?
Not at that time, no.
At some point, subsequent to that initial discussion in February of 2025, did we have another discussion?
And we were trying to figure out.
Sustained. Next question, please.
Did I ask you if you were available to be retained by the defense?
Sustained.
May we approach?
May we approach, Your Honor? May we approach? Fuck's sake, Bev.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, Bev. Oh, there was this string of. We'll get to it, but there's this string of objections that was just like it was just objection sustained. Like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? Like, the jury has to see all that. Now, before and on that note, Simi said before, it was a while ago now. I watched a lot of trials for years. I've never watched a trial that was so obviously corrupt and never such a bully for an attorney ever, not even close. No, I've heard a lot of a fair few of the lawtubers say that and they're not sure whether corruption's quite the right word because that sort of expressly requires some sort of explicit like quid pro quo, right? But heavily biased. She has made a lot of the big rulings, not all of the big rulings that Bev has made have been have been in the defense's favor. It's starting to even up those scales now, aren't they? Perhaps that whole what was it? God, my brain. Airbnb, the whole house on the Cape, the motion to recuse right back 2 years ago, might be the closest there is any like explicit corruption, but who knows? Who knows? We seem to have lost. Thanks, Laura. We seem to have lost what the fuck. I think she might have left the studio and come back. Fingers crossed. I have got her timestamps though, so yes, we can do this. We can do this. Clear bias, corruption unproven. Lifeguard Bev, yes. I think she used to be a public defender for a period of time, right? I think she was. Excuse me. Let me just see if I can pull up this. Where was I? This. Oh no, here it is. And where are we up to? Walk and talk chat. Let me just check where we're up to. I'll pull this up. That's what she said. Ms. What the fuck's internet dropped out. Gotcha. That's all right. Luckily, I have the list that Ms. What the fuck prepared for me with timestamps. So let me get that organized here. But I'll have to just get it to the right spot. That's what she said. I don't know where. Wait. Head injury testing. Did we do that one yet? No. Have we done lens? We're in the middle of lenses and diffusers, I think, which is 40 something 30. Let me get there. Oh no, here we are. Boom, 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 boom. Lovely. Oh, is there volume? No.
Is the product of a glass being hurled into the taillight.
Sustained.
Were you concluding, or did you opine that the damage to the
Thank you, Ms. What the fuck at 109. Wait, oh my God. What am I doing with my life? 109.50. Beautiful. No, don't apologize. God knows internet woes are our jam round here at Gab Shorty. Here we go.
ultimately in March of 2025, were you hired by the defense?
Yes.
Okay.
Get the speed up again.
Were you asked to do anything or to review anything from the Commonwealth and any of their experts in relation to testing that was undertaken by them
There we go.
regarding the Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes.
What were you asked to do?
My understanding is that we were asked to review and evaluate the report and analysis conducted by Dr. Welcher.
Did you receive Dr. Welcher's reports?
Yes.
Did you receive his raw data?
Yes.
Did you receive his 140 plus page PowerPoint?
Yes.
And did you undertake a review of that, all of that data, in order to evaluate that data?
Yes.
What methodology did you undertake at that juncture before you began any testing? Just your review process. What methodology did you undertake in terms of your review of his evaluations and his opinions and conclusions?
Well, I think when reviewing his report and his analysis, I look to his opinions, and then I look to what's the basis and the foundation to those opinions, right? How did he ultimately arrive at those final conclusions? So I'm looking for the methodologies that he followed, what testing did he do, what type of experiments, what type of data analysis, ultimately to provide that opinion.
Ultimately, did you prepare a PowerPoint presentation in furtherance of memorializing your review and opinions and conclusions of his evaluation and testing?
Yes.
Did you bring that with you today?
Yes.
Do you have that with you on your computer, or are we going to run the PowerPoint?
It's on this computer up here with me.
With the court's permission, could Dr. Wolfe present his PowerPoint presentation?
Okay.
Your Honor, I have a thumb drive that I believe represents PowerPoint. Do we have this marked?
Yes, is this coming into evidence?
Okay,
Right, so we'll mark for identification.
no, my
For identification for
favorite.
the time being. Discussing it.
But all these objections are coming.
Should it BDV for identification?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Dr. Wolfe, do you see what's displayed or presented up on the TV screen?
Yes.
All right. Do you have with you, by the way, just a matter of housekeeping, something called a spotlight?
Yes.
Something that can do whatever spotlight does that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
I may ask you to employ that, or I may take it from you at some point as we're discussing this. Do you recognize what's on the screen?
Yes.
What is this?
This is my PowerPoint with just the first page, the title.
If we can move to the next slide, please. Describe what we're looking at in this slide.
This is from Dr. Welcher's PowerPoint presentation, slide 121, in which he's indicating that there are lacerations on John O'Keefe's right arm and forearm. And he's indicating in this slide that the location and orientation of the lacerations on John O'Keefe's right forearm and arm are consistent with the geometry and orientation of the right rear taillight of the Reed 2021 Lexus LX 570.
In coming to your opinions and conclusions, and I know this is a mouthful, did you consider the opinions and conclusions of Dr. Welcher in conducting your analysis and your ultimate testing?
Yes.
Did you rely on Dr. Welcher's report and his PowerPoint in reaching your conclusions and opinions ultimately in this case?
I don't know that I relied on it. Certainly, I utilized them to have an understanding of what his basis was for his opinion and what his opinion was. Ultimately, at ARCA, we did our own independent testing to evaluate that.
So just to be clear, I'm not asking Dr. Wolfe if you agreed with his opinions and conclusions. I'm simply asking, did you rely on those in order to come to your opinions and conclusions? Did you incorporate them?
Sustained is
Did you agree ultimately with Dr. Welcher's opinions and conclusions?
sustained.
You certainly were aware of what his opinions and conclusions were, correct?
The form, Mr. Jackson, on that.
Were you aware of Dr. Welcher's opinions and conclusions?
Yes.
Are some of those opinions and conclusions represented in your PowerPoint?
Yes.
Are some of them represented on this slide in your PowerPoint?
Oh,
Yes.
Pause. Defense First Jody says, wow, you've got some amazing people around you for support and assistance, Lisa. Where did you find them? And do they have friends? LMAO. You know what? I was just thinking this yesterday, how our beautiful community and more specifically my mod squad, but not exclusively, I'm so blessed. Like, I'm so blessed. We've had plenty of shit ones through the crew defense rest. Turned out to be pieces of shit. And the trash takes itself out, and it's really quite a special thing. It's quite a special thing. I am blessed. Yes, they have friends. We're all friends here. That's what Shorty's all about. Master Chief, hi, good to see you. Yes, they are absolutely awesome. Like, honestly, so good. So good.
You indicated that
Just
this
happened
slide indicates
organically.
that the location and orientation of the lacerations on John O'Keefe's right forearm and arms are consistent with the geometry and orientation of the right rear taillight, correct?
Correct.
Are the injuries to John O'Keefe's arm lacerations?
That would be an opinion from my colleague, Dr. Rentra.
Have you ever heard the phrase abrasion?
Yes.
In your opinion, are the
Oh my God, some idiot on Twitter about Dr. Marie Russell was going, why did she keep saying abrasions when they're scratches? I'm like, ugh, girl, that's the medical term. Okay, idiots. Okay, aunties. They're not real smart over there. God, it's offensive when they say that about us. Come on now. Yikes. Go. Play. Why aren't you playing? Now my mouse is gone with some weird. There we go.
injuries to John O'Keefe's right
Maybe
arm
I'm not real smart.
better described as lacerations or abrasions?
I don't have an opinion on that.
Okay. Slide number 2, please. Based on your review of Dr. Welcher's reports and his data, what testing did Dr. Welcher undertake or conduct?
So he did, initially, it appeared that he did a static test, if you will, just demonstrating holding his right arm out adjacent to the rear taillights on the right side of an exemplar Lexus to demonstrate his theory of how the arm contacted the taillight.
What is a static?
Pause. Again with the stupid idiots on Twitter. So it's not okay when Dud Welcher wears John's clothes, but it's okay when Arca does. I mean, it was a different color. It's the same weight. They didn't make a big song and dance, did they? They being Arca, he being Dr. Wolfe, about totally matching head to toe. Did he? If he did, then that's not cool in my opinion. But I'm okay with it being the same hoodie to get the same results. What do you think? What the fuck?
I think it was pretty clear that they weren't dressing up to, completely look like him. And that's really what it seemed like Aperture was trying to do. It really felt like they were trying to pull on the heartstrings more than anything.
Yes.
And not really doing it for science sake,
Right.
Especially when he took off the hoodie for the actual test.
Yes. Totally different. Like, actually changed everything by taking off that hoodie, because John had the hoodie on. One would assume. Right. Yeah. Wow. But there has been some times where I've checked myself. And even like, I love him, but even with Aiden, with Turtle Boy, some of his tweets, I'm like, oh my God, but I don't know if I can trust Aiden to be completely objective when he's reporting what's happening in court. And also he made a claim that he was going to just parody John DePetro with his tweets. I'm like, now I don't know. Are you being serious? Did that actually happen in court? Like, I don't know anymore. What is happening? So I've been checking myself with some of the antis, because sometimes they have some good points. Like, that's when I thought, yeah, good point. But it was for sciencey shit, not for heartstring shit. It wasn't a subliminal message. There's no picture of is there? I presume I was only listening, but it doesn't seem so far. And there was certainly no narrative about it of of the person dressed, because it was the dummy, right? It was Randy or the other one. Whereas Welcher stood there like full head to toe, cap on and everything, being like, look, we got the exact same glass. Like, dude, what are you going on here? What's happening? What's happening? Okay, good. Okay. Oh, my mouse keeps doing stupid shit. Oh, fuck my life. Why? There we go.
Static test.
So I'm sustaining that. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson. And I'm going to strike that.
What testing did you note that Dr. Welcher did with regard to this particular photograph? What is a static test?
Well, in a static test, that neither the arm or the vehicle is moving. It's just he's aligning his right arm adjacent to show how his arm aligns to the geometry and the dimensions of the Lexus.
Did Dr. Welcher appear to be wearing similar clothing as John O'Keefe was wearing?
He probably had the same jocks on
January 29, 2022.
Yes.
Is there any significance?
Maybe he was wearing the missing
for that,
sock.
in your opinion?
In this test, no.
Did you identify any limitations?
He's trying not
regard
to smile.
this
Look
sort
at
of
his face.
testing
God,
undertaken
he's
by
cute.
Dr. Welcher?
Well, it's very basic in that the only thing that this demonstrates is that you can get your right arm to align with the taillight. Beyond that, it doesn't tell you anything with respect to what happens to the arm when it makes contact with the taillight, right? What's the motion of the arm? What's the damage to the taillight? What's the acceleration of the arm? What's the forces of the arm? So it doesn't answer any of those other questions. The only question it answers is, does the arm align with the taillight?
You're aware that John O'Keefe was 6'1", correct?
Correct.
Is the only person, let me ask you a different way. Can only a 6'1" person align their arm with the taillight?
No, the arm is adjustable, so certainly people of different heights could also meet that alignment as well.
Just by giving your arm, right?
Is it recent, Bob?
How would you describe the ability of somebody 5'7", 6'3", being able to align their arm with the taillight?
Just changing the orientation and the posture of your arm.
Was there any scientific significance, in your opinion, of this particular test?
Again, other than just demonstrating that it aligns with it, no, nothing beyond that.
Next slide.
Pause. You know we love a side quest here. The first thing I found, wait. So John Camo, new song just added to the album is Crash Daddy. Let's listen to this. Hang on. I think it's relevant. It's a relevant side quest. Sometimes this happens on Camp Shorty. Woo!
He rolls in with the frostbit steel, freezing tail lights just to keep it real. A cannon in the lab, a glass in flight. He's launching cocktails in the dead of night. Not wearing a badge, but he's still the law. He don't miss a fracture, he don't miss a flaw. While the state runs junk with a click and a flash. Crash Daddy's testing with forensic smash. They call him the Crash Daddy, boom goes the truth. Shatter their narrative right through the roof. While watching stuck in static, looking kinda shady. Wolf breaking blast, signs gone 80s. Tail light terror on, not quite that gladless. Not what they say, ask the Crash Daddy. He don't need a bad equations and proof. Put a Lexus on ice and he brought the truth. Testing hair charmer with method in might. And 15 MPVs. Me the D. Tax no fracture in sight. They call him the Crash Daddy, rebel in specs. This data don't care about a blue eyes flex. While the Commonwealth fumbled, looking kinda chatty, he just said, let's test that real Crash Daddy. Forget fake lenses and the storyline shady. True fry shotgun with the Crash Daddy. He don't swing a gavel, don't carry a gun. But he cracked the case before the day was done. Let the jury watch, let the DA scoff. The cannon's fired and the gloves are off. Woo! Crash Daddy. Crash Daddy. Truth ain't dead, it just got chatty. And it's no allowed when the scene gets mad. It just gets loud with the Crash Daddy. He's the Arctic King, courtroom combatant. Truth don't shatter, it's just crash tested platinum.
Pause. It's on Twitter. John Camo, his name's Dixie Normus. Hang on. John Camo, why did that go away like that? Dixie Normus, let me pop that link in chat. He's word sentences. John Camo, John's been on Camp Shorty. He's amazing, friend of the channel. His missus is Detective Mullins. She comes into our chat occasionally. But I will drop that link to the actual tweet, but it's his like second tweet at the moment. If you don't have, excuse me, if you don't have Twitter, I can drop that in Discord. Remind me, I'll bookmark that shit. Okay, anyway, back to testimony. That's pretty cool. Here. He's a good man. He always takes his shirt off. He's the funniest cunt. Wow. Did I say that? Yes, I did, apparently.
Right in
Oh
time
my
for
God,
colors
mate.
to come in.
Did Colors just get here?
Yeah.
Wait, Colors? Hi, friends. Hi, Colors. Good to see you. Welcome to Crash Daddy Dream Zone. Why? Why are you doing this to me, Mouse?
Slide, please.
Mouse laughs at everything I say.
What are we looking at here?
Colors,
So this
can't
is
wait
an
to have a chat
extracted
with you and
frame
Tony on
from
Sunday night.
one of his dynamic tests in which the vehicle is moving at about 2 miles per hour into his arm, making contact with his hand, his forearm, and his elbow.
What is a dynamic test as it relates to a
Surprise
static
me,
test?
So that's when something's in motion, and in this instance, it's the Lexus moving at about 2 miles per hour into his arm.
Did Dr. Welcher explain what the purpose of this test was?
From what I recall, I think it was to demonstrate that when his arm makes contact with the taillight, he observed paint transfer in the general location that there were the abrasions or the lacerations on his arm.
Did he appear to paint the taillight?
He did, yes.
Do you see that Dr. Welcher appears to be wearing an orange T-shirt?
Sustained.
What is he wearing?
Appears to be an orange T-shirt.
Is that similar to what was described as John O'Keefe having worn that night on January 29th, 2022?
Yes.
Is there any significance to wearing that T-shirt?
Not that I can think of, no.
Nope.
Did you note any or identify any shortcomings with this particular test?
Well, much like
Just where
the
the
static
instructions are,
test,
what the
again, it leaves the door open to all those questions, right? About, again, doing this at 2 miles an hour doesn't tell you anything about, well, what happens at 10? What happens at 15? What happens at 20, right? In terms of what are the collision forces? What's the damage? How does the arm move? What would the expected injuries be, right? This dynamic test, as well as the static test, doesn't answer any of those questions for us.
Is this test from Dr. Welcher considered a force calculation?
I'm not aware of him making any type of force calculations or measuring accelerations or anything of that nature, no.
Did Dr. Welcher conduct any testing to determine whether the damage to Miss Reed's Lexus was consistent with the striking of an arm of a pedestrian?
I'm not aware of any impact testing that he did, no.
No.
Did Dr. Welcher conduct any testing to determine the forces necessary to cause the damage to the taillight of Miss Reed's vehicle?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Very basic concepts that I hope will kind of resonate as we go through the PowerPoint so that you have an understanding of the underlying physics and what I'm talking about.
Can you go ahead and describe the role of an accident reconstructionist and the fundamentals that an accident reconstructionist undertakes when performing the kind of testing that you perform?
So as I mentioned earlier, when I was describing what a simple definition of accident reconstruction is, it's the application of physics and engineering to collision events. So this is, I want to go through some very basic elements of that so that you have an understanding of the physics.
Can we go to the next slide, please? What are we looking at here?
So this might be something you all remember back from high school physics, but even though it's been around since the late 1600s, we still use these laws today. So what we're looking at here is what I've done is just describe Newton's laws very simply. So, and again, you might be familiar with these. So for instance, if we're talking about Newton's first law, an object at rest tends to stay at rest and at a constant speed unless it's acted on by an outside force, right? So if my arm is just here, right, it's just going to stay there until I give it a push or a pull, right? When I do that, that's going to induce an acceleration, right? So that's when we get into Newton's law, where if I apply a force to a mass, I'm going to cause it to change its speed. It's going to accelerate. And then Newton's third law basically the law of reaction indicates that when I push on my arm, there's also an equal and opposite force going back to my hand that I'm pushing with.
What role did these three
Bev.
very
Oh my
fundamental
God,
laws
wait.
of physics play in your reconstruction?
There's also an equal and opposite force going back to my hand that I'm pushing with.
Wait. Oh, she's looking a bit rough, isn't she? Hang on.
A little bit
Wait.
sloppy there.
A little bit sloppy. I'll turn the volume up for a second. Hang on. Okay. Wait. Oh my God, the fucking oh, Bev. Oh dear. Sorry, Bev. You're not a real Ay.
This case.
So when we're talking about the concept of acceleration, what you will see in the dynamic test that we did and conducted, we measured the acceleration of an arm when it's impacted by a taillight. If we know the mass of the arm and we've measured the acceleration, we can use Newton's second law, which is force is equal to mass times the acceleration, to calculate what that force is applied on the arm, which ultimately you will hear from my colleague, Dr. Rentschler, to talk about that.
Yes, we will. I'm going to say I'm not real good at technical shit, right? This stuff. Not this stuff, but generally numbers and like I struggled to follow a lot. Maybe it was the poor. Anyway, that's my point. How well did he describe it? Dr. Wolfe dumbed it down enough for me to never once go, wait, what? Like what? Never once did I. And this was me in my delirium, me trying to focus my brain at 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. This is a good expert. I can't wait to see what JD, what is his channel called? Fuck God, why don't I ever remember? JD, a lawyer, something. He's so good. What's his channel called? Chat will tell me what he has to say about this, because he does lots of. If you haven't already watched any of Wolf, Jackson, LSE, Rentschler. Come on, someone chat. Help me. What's his name? Hi, Kathy, by the way. Tony DeWitt. Yes, but what's his channel called? JD, a lawyer, something. Fuck. Anyway, he's got lots of little shortish clips. Micah and I were talking in Discord about, normally I don't like short stuff. Thank you, Simi. And then can you drop his link in the chat? Lots of little really good analyses. I think the longest one is like 30 minutes. I like long form. But I can't wait to hear his thoughts. He did a great one on experts. Thank you, JD, a lawyer explains. Thank you. Chat, amazing. Chat is bae. Because this is how an expert should be on the stand. They shouldn't be obfuscating. They shouldn't be like making shit more like razzle dazzle complicated. They're there to dumb it down for a jury of Karen's peers. So, I mean, maybe there's someone who understands like science and physics and stuff on the jury. Maybe there's two of them. I love him. My producer, Motion to Scream What the Fuck Graduate is, has reached out to JD to see if he might like to come on the channel. I know he's on Uncivil Law in the last couple of days, so that would be amazing.
Is that broadly considered a force analysis?
Yes.
What role did your force analysis
Thank
play
you, Sim.
in
You're the best.
the accident reconstruction that you did or you undertook in this?
Go and subscribe. He's great.
Well, there's certainly going to be a correlation between the impact speed and the damage that we see. The higher the impact speed, the greater the force. So from my perspective, I was interested in the speed and the force to look at what's the observed damage to the test taillights that we did.
Do you think that's fundamental to an accident reconstruction?
Yes.
Did Dr. Welcher
I'll have to
engage in any force analysis with regard to John O'Keefe's arm and the taillight?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Let's move to the next slide, please. What are we looking at here?
So don't be too afraid. This is some really simple equations that I want to show you. So that first one, delta V. So what do I mean by that? That simply just means you can think of delta, change in. So change in velocity. So if you look at that equation, the change in velocity, really simple. If I've got an object that's...
To me, anything like that is so triggering because my piece of shit father used to try to explain maths to me and I'd panic. I'd panic with him sitting next to me. Panic. and be like, and I'd guess at the answers. And in the end, I got a maths tutor instead because it was just so stressful. This is stressful for me, but it's okay. Panic looking at it, not panic hearing his testimony explaining it.
Let's say it's initially, for what V naught is, initially at 0 miles per hour. I hit it, and it's now moving 10 miles per hour. That means it underwent a change in speed of 10 miles an hour and is moving at that velocity. Acceleration is essentially how quickly did that velocity change occur, right? Did it go from 10 miles an hour in a split second, or did it go to 10 miles an hour over a few seconds? So depending on the timing of that, how quickly that change in velocity occurred will determine what the acceleration is. And as I've already mentioned on the previous slide with Newton's second law, we can then take that information about acceleration and apply it to, if we have a known mass, to calculate what the force on that object is.
How did these math equations, delta V, acceleration, force, how did these play into, what role did they play in terms of the accident reconstruction here in this case?
Well, they're extremely fundamental. And I think as we go through the PowerPoint, you will have an appreciation and understanding of what these concepts are. You'll see that I have plotted graphs with acceleration that shows the rate in that change in speed over time. You will see graphs of delta V, so the change in speed of the arm.
Pause. Colors, for some people, this is complicated. Very, very, very complicated. For me, very, very, very complicated. Very, very, very. Y'all, she's safe, but Alaska just had an earthquake. Motion to scream, what the fuck, granted, just had an earthquake. Don't make me terrified for your safety, ma'am.
It's okay. We have earthquakes all the time. It was a little bitty one. It just startled me.
Sidebar, I remember the last time Melbourne had an earthquake was about 3 years ago. And it was like, I was like, what the fuck? What is this shit? Because we don't have earthquakes all the time. It was wild. I was also in Newcastle in 1989. We had a 5.5 on the Richter scale earthquake. Hot damn, says Micah. Wait, there it is. Wait. Oh, hot damn. Oh, hot damn. Oh my God. I'm having a shocker. The Trial channel is here. You guys are amazing. She's a one-woman band, and she is fucking amazing, isn't she? He made perfect sense to me.
As it's being impacted by the taillight. And then ultimately we can calculate the force of that impact to be able to assess whether or not there's a mechanism for the injuries. And as I mentioned, that will be my colleague, Dr. Rentschler, that will discuss that.
Can I ask you about delta V specifically? I'd like to focus on that for a second. Is that okay?
Yes.
When you say that equation
I lived in Hamilton, the epicenter.
That an object that is struck by another object with mass moves up to the same speed of the object that struck it. Describe that in a little bit more detail in colloquial terms, if you will. Sixth grade terms.
I'm sorry, can you rephrase the question?
Probably not. Because I don't understand this as well as you do. If an object does delta V describe the circumstance in which you have an object that may be at rest and it's struck by another object moving.
I'm not sure, Prince.
Is that calculating the speed at which the object that is struck moves to the same speed as the object that struck it? Okay.
So that's the
Here we go.
Just ask him a simple question, let him answer.
Just wait, pause. Fuck, wrong screen.
Sure. Can you describe in more?
That's a great pause. I like it a lot. That ask a simple question, Mr. Jackson. The fucking subliminal messaging that Bev sends to the jury with her little editorializing of her admonishments. No need. She's making it sound like he's trying to ask complicated questions. They're not complicated questions. Like we've discussed, I got all of this testimony, totally understood all of it, even only listening without the visuals, because I was just listening, not really ever watching. So get the fuck out of here, Bev. Well, you do the work of 1,000 woman. Very impressive. And what are you up to now? What's your channel up to now? What are your subscriber numbers up to now? I'm just stoked when I get fucking like one new subscriber a day. It's just the Newton laws. Yes, but some people don't get that stuff, Colors, just because you do. I don't. I can get the law of gravity.
Conversational terms. What delta V is describing in terms of mathematics.
Right. So let's just give an example specific to this case. If the majority of the arm is struck by a 6,000-pound vehicle moving, let's say at 20 miles an hour, that arm will experience a change in speed. It'll go from 0 up to about 20 miles per hour due to that impact. So that would be the change in speed. If my arm is at rest, stationary, is impacted by a 6,000-pound vehicle, it's going to change its speed up to roughly what that impact speed is.
And what about acceleration? What are you describing, or what is math or physics describing in that equation in terms of the time it takes for that arm to now move from 0 to 20?
Right. So that's how quickly that change in speed is occurring. So to give you maybe an example you're more familiar with, let's say you're driving down the road, you come up, you see a red light at the intersection, right? You're going to get on the brakes lightly, and your vehicle is going to change in speed, right? It's going to slowly decelerate. Let's say you're driving in a deer.
Listen, trial channel sidebar. Sorry, Dr. Wolfe. My birthday's in less than a month now. You have 4 weeks yesterday to get to 50,000. Come on now. Chat, we need to share out the trial channel more. Please spread the word. The trial channel is the fucking tits. And it's 50K by my 50th birthday. That's going to be my birthday present. And I might get a face tattoo. Just saying. And a sausage dog. Oh my God, sausage dog. Adductioned.
Deer jumps out in front of you, you got to slam on the brakes, right? You're going to change your speed much quicker. So that's an example of 2 different rates of acceleration. One where you're mildly braking, right? You're going to coast down slowly, versus a sudden, emergency in front of you like a deer. You're going to slam on the brakes, and your speed change is going to be it's going to happen much quicker with that acceleration rate.
Are there circumstances in which the acceleration can be from 0 to say 20 miles an hour in milliseconds?
How does anyone else say
impact
tattoo?
durations,
Wait,
especially of this nature? Yes.
Here we go, Macrame Chameleon. How does somebody else say tattoo? Tattoo. What do we say?
Tattoo.
How do we say tattoo? Tattoo. Tattoo?
Tattoo.
Tattoo. Tattoo.
Tattoo.
Macrame Chameleon. You say it. What the fuck?
Macrame Chameleon.
Oh, fuck. That's so different.
I love the way you say it, though.
Macrame Chameleon.
It's
Sounds
beautiful.
normal to me. I don't know. Like motion does. Which I know I say Macrame Chameleon wrong. I don't understand. I don't understand how it's wrong, because that's what it spells like.
It's beautiful. You say it like a song. It's gorgeous.
Oh, Dr. Wolfe, let's keep going, sir.
Yes, they're not going to be. We're not talking about the impact occurring over a second, 2 seconds. That's extremely long. Even a duration of a couple hundred milliseconds in the context of this is considered long.
And then, of course, the force calculation is associated with the delta V and the acceleration calculations. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
In what way? What are we looking at in terms of that a little bit more complex calculation?
Absolutely. So if you look at the bottom equation there, where I have force is equal to mass, and then that top component is the change in speed, right? That delta V, V1 minus V naught, divided by the change in time, T1 minus T naught. So if you substitute in that equation, right, that's delta V over delta T, which is acceleration. So there's a relationship between all of these equations.
And do all of these equations, or did all of these equations assist you in coming to determinations and opinions and conclusions concerning this case?
Yes.
Are these normally accepted methodologies in determining delta V acceleration force?
Pause. Hank's lies. I've had the same strong feeling. I also had another dream last night where there was a baby in the bath and it was face down and I let it die somehow. So I'm not sure what that is. But I think I have a really good feeling. And while we're paused, Steve, hi, and NH Dude, hi. Hey, what did I just press? Yikes. Oh my God, lol. Okay, thank you, Tony. He's giving us the basic definition of acceleration. K. I know. It was terrifying. I actually woke myself up. I was like, wait, so and wait, it was Emily D. Baker's baby. She was next to me talking. I don't know. And the baby was down in this little, like the tiniest little, and it was fine. And I was minding the baby while she was right there. I know. Sage that shit. Sage it. And then she was saying something to me, and I looked down, and suddenly the baby, trigger warning, was all limp. It was a little, like, maybe 2-month-old baby. Jesus fuck. And I was like, I picked it up. I was like, oh my fucking God, I let Emily D. Baker's baby die. And I was like, tap, try to wake it up. I was like, yeah, wake up. Yes, I did. I fucking did. Terrible. Sage it. Sage it. Anyway, on more positive news, Hank's Liars has dreamt that Karen's going to be not guilty on all counts. It was terrifying. Thank God my lucid dreaming went, bitch, wake the fuck up. This is a dream. Abort, Sage. Need a Sage song. Maybe we could write a Sage song when the trial's over. How about that? We'll do another Miss Shorty Music write a song together stream.
That all the force dynamics or impact dynamics in an accident reconstruction.
Absolutely. They are the core of physics.
Can we go to the next slide, please? What are we looking at here? Scientific method. What does that mean?
So the scientific method is a process that scientists typically use to be able to reach conclusions. And so you can think about it in this case, we make an observation, right? We have injuries to the arm. We've got a damaged taillight. So let's try to do some research to figure out, okay, has anyone done testing with that, right? Has anyone hit an arm with the taillight, see what happens, see what the forces are, right? And then we start to make a hypothesis, right?
I'm just lazy with my
what happens, it's kind of an if-then statement. If the arm contacts the taillight, does the taillight break? Does it not break, right? What's the hypothesis there? And at least my understanding of reviewing Dr. Welcher's work, it appeared to be that his hypothesis...
Sustained. Next question.
Sure.
Did
you review...
Here we go.
Let me ask a
These are the
question.
objections.
Going back to the calculations previously, the delta V, the acceleration, the force calculations that you described to the jury, did you see anywhere in any of Dr. Welcher's reports or his data that he undertook those core calculations?
No.
With regard to the scientific method, did you see whether or not Dr. Welcher followed this scientific method as you're explaining it to the jury?
Sustained. 2.
What did you note, or what opinions or conclusions did you come to about the scientific method, if any, that Dr. Welcher did or did not undertake?
Sustained. 3.
Did you review Dr. Welcher's entire database? In other words, all the reports, all the raw data, and his PowerPoint?
Yes.
Did he undertake the scientific method as you know it?
Right, so that's sustained.
4.
Continue to describe the scientific method as you know it and you employ it.
Certainly. So again, from reviewing Dr. Welcher's report, he indicated...
Sustained. I'm going to see you at sidebar. 5.
Sidebar. 34, Fairview. Steve, you've got a red eye from... we haven't got the trial channel because I wasn't sure. Have you got your stuff done with the trial channel? So let me get through this sidebar. If I was watching this on the trial channel, we wouldn't have to skip through, would we? No, because the trial channel edits, defluffs, timestamps, and puts them in chronological order per witness for the trial and other trials. Check her out.
Happens at a range of speeds, in this instance, in our first two tests, between 10 and 17 miles per hour, right? What happens, what kind of damage do we observe, right? At 10 miles an hour, do we even break the light? At 17, what kind of damage do we get? What kind of accelerations do we get? And then we moved up to full-scale vehicle impact testing.
Is that methodology that you just described generally accepted in the field of accident reconstruction, in the broader field of engineering?
Absolutely. Everything from utilizing an instrumented test dummy to using an exemplar vehicle, to all the data acquisition systems that we had in the laboratory, as well as the vehicle. All of that is generally accepted techniques in the field of accident reconstruction to evaluate what we did in this case. And
are those techniques also supported by peer-reviewed articles in scientific literature related to accident reconstruction?
Yes.
Sniff, sniff.
Did you rely on this methodology that you just described to render opinions and conclusions as it relates to this case?
Yes.
Have you relied on that same methodology in rendering opinions and conclusions in other courts?
Yes.
Let's go to the next slide, please. What are we looking at here?
So we've gone over this before, but this is looking at the
pause the trial channel. Tomorrow for our show, I guarantee you will be using all of your clips. So we weren't sure whether you'd have it all ready to go. This was a last minute swerve, a pivot to just cover Crash Daddies tonight rather than go through day 25 and 26 of trial tonight as per the plan. So yes, yeah, the audio, man, those fans are loud. Bev's hair's gone all frizzy and kind of curly. Her straw has unstraightened.
Exemplar vehicle that we utilize for the latter part of our testing. You're looking at again, just annotating where the lift gate taillight is, as well as the quarter panel taillight.
When you say exemplar vehicle, what is this SUV that we're looking at?
So it's the same year, make, and model of the subject vehicle. So it's a 2021 Lexus LX 570. So it's the same weight, same geometry, same as the subject vehicle.
Is this a picture off the internet, or do you actually have access to this truck?
We have access to that vehicle, yes.
Da-da-da-da.
And ultimately, what testing did you undertake specifically as it relates to this particular vehicle?
We did full-scale vehicle testing with the vehicle driving into an ATD arm, as well as an ATD arm attached to a dummy, and then a full-on impact to a test dummy.
Did you assess the damage to the right tail light after these various tests?
Yes, after all the tests.
Did you assess the acceleration and quantify the forces that were involved?
Yes.
Did you assess the material and textile damage to the clothed ATD?
Yes.
Pause. That's a really good point, Steph. Hank, in my opinion, walked away from the mic so often because he knows how he is sounding. It's definitely less clippable. It's less appealing for me as someone who, not always, but still occasionally makes shorts, YouTube shorts. It sucks when they're not near the mic. I don't understand why they're not mic'd up with lapel mics in court, right? Crazy, but you could be right. He's, if the jurors are laughing at him, one would assume the spectacle that is Hank Brennan. Yay!
Also,
Hey,
did you
butterfly!
conduct lab tests in an effort to answer some of these questions as well?
Yes.
And you've already mentioned this, but you utilized in your testing the exemplar vehicle to the fullest extent that you felt necessary?
Absolutely.
Were
Yes.
you hampered or hindered in any way in terms of damaging the vehicle or utilizing the vehicle in any way that you wished?
No.
Let's go to the next slide, please.
But then they don't even have a decent air conditioning unit. Don't even start
What are
Tony
tests
on that.
A and B? What are those laboratory tests?
So these were the initial two tests that we did to get an idea of starting to test this hypothesis. As I mentioned, we weren't sure at 10 miles an hour what would happen to the taillight. We wanted to see what would happen at 17 miles an hour with the arm. So again, it was to evaluate from a starting point what happens in this interaction based upon how Dr. Welcher had his arm oriented in his PowerPoint analysis.
Next slide, please. What is this?
So you're looking at a photograph of our lab setup. You can see on the left side of that is our hybrid 3 anthropomorphic test device. To the right is a linear impactor, and this is something we already have in-house that we built years ago for our testing that we do for the National Hockey League when we're looking at what's the accelerations on an impact to a goalie wearing a helmet, right? We use this same device for that type of testing to measure head acceleration. So we applied this same linear impactor to be able to project, if you will, or accelerate the taillight at a known speed into the ATD arm.
What are some of the instrumentation that you use in addition to the mechanical impactor? What's some of the instrumentation you use to track the data?
Certainly. So you can see, I'll get my, see down here. So at the top here, there's a blue camera here. There's another blue camera here. So these are our high-speed cameras. And you'll see there's a bunch of lights around those high speeds. That's just because the frame rate's so high. And again, it's only sampling a very, very short amount of time. So you have to have a lot of light when you do these high-speed tests. So we have the high-speed cameras running. We have an accelerometer mounted to the ATD arm here on the other side. So that's some of the instrumentation. There's also a couple other cameras that we're documenting this overall.
Can we move to the next slide, please? What are we looking at in these photographs?
So this is looking at, and not to be confused, this wasn't the arm position when the impact occurred. This is just showing you the setup. So on the left is just kind of an overall shot. And then on the right here is a uniaxial accelerometer. So that's going to measure, we talked about that term earlier, right? The acceleration. So that's going to measure how quickly is this arm changing its speed, right? What's the acceleration of the arm as it's impacted?
Does that accelerometer put into motion some of the mathematical formulations that you talked about earlier?
Yes.
Let's move to the next slide, please. Tell me about these photographs.
So the importance of this is more specifically looking at the right photograph here. Might be a little bit hard to see, but we wanted to get the same exact sweatshirt or hoodie for the testing to evaluate if the taillight breaks, is there a mechanism for the fragments to penetrate and cause holes in the sweatshirt as were observed in Mr. John O'Keefe's sweatshirt?
Next slide. Were you successful in finding the exact replica sweatshirt?
Yes, and I will note, as I mentioned, I know it probably is hard to see, but the material blend on the sleeves are the exact same. They are 60% cotton and 40% polyester.
Was it important in your mind to maintain consistency with the data that you
Notice he's
received
not
concerning
wearing
John
it,
O'Keefe's
standing
clothing?
there all full cosplay.
Certainly, I think we wanted to try to control as many variables as we could.
Let's move to the next slide, please. Test A. Describe test A for us, please.
So you're going to see a series of photographs and then videos. But test A was mounting a preconditioned taillight on that linear impactor to accelerate it into the hybrid 3 arm to, again, evaluate the damage to the taillight and the acceleration to the arm.
Let's move to the next slide, please. What are we looking at in these photographs?
So you're looking on the left, a photograph just before.
So chat, don't Google it. But that apparatus looks a lot like something you can buy from a different kind of store. I've heard. Just saying. Hey, we are mindful of the time. Because at 9 Eastern, so in less than an hour, that's it, Micah. Yes, thank you. Yes. In less than an hour, in less than an hour, I'm heading over to Publicly Buzzed for Feral Friday. We're watching Frankenhooker. Well, that's kind of an interesting segue, isn't it? So we're thinking, the royal we, myself and my producer, sorry, guys, sorry. It does though, doesn't it? If you know, you know. We're thinking that perhaps it might be a good idea to go to some of the cross exam because Hank's an idiot, right? Closing my virgin eyes. Don't look. Don't Google it. Don't Google Boston Steamer. Don't Google Blue Waffle. There's so many things you shouldn't Google. But hey, let's do it. Let's go.
And just don't listen to Micah either. That's the other one.
Don't listen to Micah. Micah is a bad influence. Patty, hi. I mean, you can Google it, man. They're out there. Wait, let me preface this. Trigger warning, not for children's ears. When I was a sex worker at Escort, I went to a client's house who did have one of those machines. Unfortunately, the night did not progress in that way. That's all I'm saying.
Unfortunately, I'm leaving it. I'm pushing play.
Yeah. Now.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know what confirmation bias is generally?
Generally, yes.
Do you think that you suffer from any confirmation bias in this case?
No.
Do you have any close family?
It's like you learned a new word.
that
I learned a
supports
new
one
word.
side over the other? Not
Confirmation
the facts of
bias.
the data, but one side over the other.
Close family?
Yes.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Oh, wow.
Wife?
My wife?
Yes.
I don't really know what her thoughts are on the case.
Fuck off, hey.
Approach?
Yes.
Andrew was like, good luck with that, impeaching him on someone else's stuff, and good luck with that. Did you even go to law school, said Andrea about Hank Brennan. Like, you can't even do that. He couldn't even impeach him. Like, fuck's sake. So funny.
No, I've not. No.
You're unaware of anything that may influence you to lean one way or another?
Correct.
With her Facebook colors.
When you first took a look at some of the facts in this case, you had some information. Since then, you've received a lot more, haven't you?
Correct, yes.
Okay, that was his wife, which was bringing up his wife was just dirty.
No surprise there, though, right? No surprise there.
Oh, yeah. And then I skip to what my note says is Hank starts going psycho.
Yeah, that's fine. I was thinking about this today. Given how terrified by Arca Hank clearly is, unpopular opinion, I think Hank did make some kind of good points, but he undoes every good point that he makes with this kind of bullshit. So you can't lose that slimy ick feeling that you get from Hank, that used car salesman, mobster lawyer, like bully, snake, weasel, demon bullshit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There were times, though, I'm not gonna lie, and I don't want to sound crazy. It was almost like he was trying to prove the other side's case, be like, look at this, look at this. Like he was almost trying too hard to say
He
this
always-
is bad, but it was like, no, that's bad for you, Hank. Don't you
He's
understand?
reaching like his demeanor and his inference, his tone when he was questioning Marie Russell, which we'll talk about tomorrow night. But Dr. Marie Russell, sorry, ma'am, Queen. Like he's putting all this inference and loading all these questions up with inference, and these amazing witnesses just answer like calmly. They don't generally buy into his bullshit. It's really quite a credit to these people because I'm so triggered by Hank Brennan. I mean, today I wasn't so much. Today I was just mostly going, oh, fuck, you're an idiot. Like, what an idiot. He gives the ick, right? All right, so let's keep going.
Upon, wouldn't you want to do as much study as possible on the background for that opinion before you give it to a jury?
I suppose, yes.
Well, you suppose. Don't you think if you come in here as an expert, the jury is relying on your background and education?
Yes.
Which
And
is
they're relying on the
exemplary.
fact that you're representing something definitively or with an opinion to a reasonable degree of certainty? You understand that, right?
Yes.
And don't you think when you do that, that it's important that you have proper study and foundation before you just come into court and give an opinion?
Well, I will note that the ATD crash dummy is a generally accepted test device to use for not only assessing occupant forces in motor vehicle crashes, but also to assess impact forces. So that the use of that device is certainly generally accepted.
When you get uncomfortable with my question, you generally tend to answer a different question.
Sustain, Mr. Brennan, next question. Strike that, Jules.
Let me ask you again. Don't you think, as an
Can you
expert,
please
it's
skip
important
back
you
that
come in-
bit? What the fuck? Just by 10 seconds or so? Because he's away from the mic, it's hard to hear, but what an idiot.
Forces. So that the use of that device is certainly generally accepted.
When you get uncomfortable with my question, you generally tend to answer a different question.
Sustain, Mr. Brennan, next question. Strike that, Jules.
Let me ask you again.
Yikes.
Don't you think,
He's
as
so
an expert, it's
dirty.
important
He's
you come in
lazy, dirty
and
yuck.
present an opinion based on science or engineering or whatever you want to do.
Straw
That
man,
you
man.
study
He's
the
straw
basis of
man
that
in the
opinion
shit out of
before
it.
you give
Yes.
When you saw in Dr. Rentz's report references to this very issue about what should be used when you're doing demonstrations or study of what can cause tears to clothing, weren't you interested in the basis for those opinions?
Well, again, it was something where Dr. Rentschler and I worked together, and we were in agreement that we could utilize the ATD arm clothed.
When you decided to have an agreement that you could use that arm, did you read the book that he cites his support, Forensic Pathology, 2nd edition, Vincent J. DeMaio? Did you read it?
No, I did not.
Did you brief it?
No.
Did you peruse through it at all?
No.
When you decided to come to this agreement that's going to have a foundation for your opinions, did you look
Look at his
at
brow.
photo
He's like,
26,
what are you talking about,
understanding the acute
dickhead?
skin injury mechanism caused by player surface contact during soccer, a survey and systematic review? Did you do that?
No, sir.
Have you seen
like,
any?
Yeah. Nah, mate. Nah, mate. Yeah, nah, mate. And the stupid thing, yes, colors. He's questioning the use of crash test dummies and asking if he's checked any studies for the use of crash test dummies. Like, that's literally what crash test dummies are for. Testing in various crash situations, right? Like, the jury must be going, what? Like what?
Case you provided reports recently.
Yes.
When did you provide your report? Was it April 6th
April 6th?
or was it May 6th?
I think it's May 7th,
May
if I'm not
7th.
mistaken.
So you provided a report May 7th. Yes.
He said Cedarbrook
Correct.
too
Did you know
the
when
other
this
day.
trial started?
Peg. Fuck off. Cedar Crest, you idiot.
Early April?
You provided your PowerPoint. When did you provide your PowerPoint?
I think it would have been Thursday of this week.
Well, it wasn't last night.
Sorry,
It's probably
maybe Wednesday.
probably
Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday. Is that fair?
Yes.
In looking at pedestrian accidents, it's important to try, if you can, understand the exact positioning of the body, isn't it?
If a collision occurred, yes.
And if a collision occurred, you can't always identify the exact position of the body, can you?
No, oftentimes it can be very difficult, yes.
You would want to know if it is a collision between a car and a pedestrian, whether the person was fully impacted or it was a clipping type incident. Wouldn't you want to know that if you could?
That would certainly affect the trajectory, yes.
And you would want to know, if you could, the body posture, whether the person was standing up straight or crouching,
If a collision occurred, yes.
whether they were turning or standing straight, or they had their arm out. That's helpful information, isn't it?
If a collision occurred, so good.
It can be, but
So
when we're
good.
talking about how quickly this impact duration is, right? If you recall back to the PowerPoint,
He's just
right, we're talking
humouring
about
him.
a 10
Humouring
millisecond
him.
window. So however the body
He,
is
Dr. Wolfe,
positioned at
humouring
contact, that's how it's positioned. It's not going to be able to have any significant movement or change in orientation in that 10 millisecond window.
The position of the body can change the trajectory of the person who's hit, can it?
So can you repeat the question?
Positioning of the body, the way they position that can change the trajectory if they're hit after they hit, can it?
It can, yes.
Whether they're moving towards the vehicle or away from it could affect the trajectory, couldn't it?
If they have some relative velocity, yeah.
Trying to determine the point of impact when you're looking at a scene, it's important when you do trajectory studies to know where the point of impact is.
If you're going to utilize studies that look at projection of pedestrians when you're
That's a really
contacted
good
at
idea,
the center of
Tony.
gravity and you get projected some distance, you can rely on those studies, but you have to have an understanding of where the point of impact is and where the point of rest is.
You don't have the point of impact. If you don't know the point of impact, you don't know the exact body position. That creates variables in your studies, doesn't it?
Well, again, talking about those studies, they're not applicable when you are contacting, for instance, just a limb or you don't have a center of gravity hit. Those when you're talking about how far will a pedestrian get projected, if it's like a forward projection or what's known as like a wrap projection where the pedestrian wraps onto the hood and then becomes decoupled, those studies are applicable there. But when you're talking about where there's minimal overlap between the body and the center of gravity, then you can't utilize those studies.
So you would not want to know where the point of impact is?
In this particular case, no, I don't think it would be helpful.
You would not want to know the body position?
I don't think that it would be helpful in determining, because again, we have to start with, is it consistent with a collision?
So you would not want to know the body position. That's what you're telling us. You don't want to know that.
Well, if the evidence indicates that the contact is inconsistent, then that's kind of where the reconstruction stops. You can't go to a point of impact and a point of rest if there was no contact.
So you don't want to know the body position.
Objection. Can you answer that?
Pause for a
I
sec.
don't understand this question, Your Honor.
Nobody understands. This is talking to your abusive, narcissistic partner, friend, boss, family member, and they're saying bullshit word salad at you, and you're like, I can't, like, what? Like what? That's Hank, but he's a psychopath. Just saying.
When you're doing studies, you don't want to know the body position?
Objection. Can you answer that, Dr. Wolfe?
Again, it depends on the type of impact. For the alleged contact in this case, you can't
Alleged.
rely on those studies about impact location and point of rest. They're not applicable to
I'm not
this.
talking about studies. As far as data, information, you as the person doing tests, would you want to know the body positioning?
Objection. This is 5 times. And this time we'll get an answer and that'll be it. You got an answer every single time. Can you answer that, Dr. Wolfe?
I feel like I've answered it the best I can, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
You don't like that question?
Boom. Oh, fuck off, Hank.
There's
Fuck off, Hank. You don't like that question? You don't like that question.
disregard.
Okay. When you were doing these video demonstrations, was it important to be as accurate as possible?
Yes.
Data changes if information changes, right?
I'm not sure I understand your
That's a
question.
tough question. You want to be precise as you can and ultimately having a conclusion regarding data, don't you?
Yes.
Could I have PowerPoint page 12, please?
In a pirouette, though, Tony?
Now look
or
at force on the body.
at a massive 1 mile per hour. I think actually Hank's a psychopath. I think Hank's a psychopath. He does these things intentionally. We've done a lot of work lately, all the time, about narcissists in our psychology corner playlist. If you're interested, there's a lot there. I've recently come to understand there's a distinction between your garden bred narcissist, whatever that may be, covert, malignant, grandiose, whatever, vulnerable, that's the same as covert, basically, and a psychopath, where the narcissist, in whichever category, generally does these things just like a tiger does tiger stuff, and a fish swims in the ocean. They don't really necessarily, there's not that much intentionality to it. It's just part of their makeup. Psychopaths gaslight, lie, bold-face, in-your-face bullshit intentionally with full intent and an understanding of what they're doing. That's Hank. Just saying, definitely diagnosing psychopath.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye.
Yes. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
So the momentum of a 6,000-pound vehicle moving at 24 miles an hour, 29 miles an hour, that's going to overcome whatever the mass is that it's hitting at that point.
You're sidestepping my question.
Objection sustained. Ask a question, Mr. Brennan. Just ask a question. No more.
My question is, are you
Bev is tired of him, but she has an affiliation, whatever their allegiance is, whether that's full-blown corruption, in on the frame job. I think you're right, Steve. Sorry, I got cheese in my mouth still. I think Bev's in on it, but I don't think she likes Hank as a person. Who could? He's vile. She's like, come on, man, stop with this bullshit. It's not a good look for us. The jury hates you. Everybody hates you. The whole world hates you.
telling us that having a lighter arm does not impact the damage?
Area. There was all.
I did that thing.
100% GI. Good to see you. Yes. That's all right. I do that all the time. Yeah, no, he knows what he's doing. Hank knows what he's doing. It's not just like subtle stuff. He is so bold in the full-blown intentional gaslighting of it all. 100%. 100%. Ah, Steve, thank you.
The momentum.
Oh.
Wait, I just realized I haven't done the film writing downs today. Carry on with Dr. Wolfe. Oh, the dream is
Of a
a nice
6,000-pound vehicle moving at 24 miles an hour, 29 miles an hour, that's going to overcome whatever the mass is that it's hitting at that point.
You're sidestepping my question.
Objection sustained. Ask a question, Mr. Brennan. Just ask a question. No more.
My question is, are you telling us that having a lighter arm does not impact the damage in these tests as opposed to using the heavier arm?
Certainly not in the field test, no.
And so you disagree that when you look at the weights of those arms, you disagree there's a 26.3% difference?
Yes.
You disagree?
No, I'm sorry, what was your question?
Do you agree there was a 26.3% difference in the arm weight that you used opposed to John O'Keefe?
Yes, the hybrid arm compared to Mr. O'Keefe's arm, yes.
And you are denying that there needs to be an adjustment to your calculation because the mass MA is different. You're denying that.
I think, again, if you're, and this is something Dr. Rentschler, I believe, will
No, I want
touch
to talk
on.
to you. I don't want to talk to Dr. Rentschler.
Well, because when you're addressing the forces for injury and the mechanisms for injury, right, you would account for the difference in the weight.
So you're saying that it makes no difference that you use an arm that is 26% lighter. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, Steve times two.
No,
Sorry,
I don't
Steve,
think it would have
missed
made a significant difference, especially if you look at, for instance, if you're looking at the 95th percentile hand and the 50th percentile hand, they both weigh 1.25 pounds. They're the exact same weight. There's about a pound more roughly in the forearm and a pound more distributed in the upper arm.
But that's not my question. It's not whether it's significant or not. I'm asking you, are you saying under oath right now that a 26.3% difference had no impact on the calculations in that study? It would have no impact at all.
The calculations, yes, but in terms of the damage, no, I don't think that 1 pound difference. When we're talking
Steve,
about
I
something
missed
that's
two.
6,000 pounds, striking something that's, quite frankly, whether it's 9.4 or it's 11 something, it's not. You're not going to get a difference in the damage.
So why don't you have a 3-pound arm up there?
Well, I think that's unreasonable, sir.
What's that?
I think that's unreasonable.
What's the difference? It's a 6,000-pound car, according to you. What's the difference between
According to you,
26% and 40%?
Well, I don't even.
You can say something.
Hi,
know
Jay.
that I agree with your percentage because, again, you're accounting for the whole part of the arm that goes up to here, which we did not strike that part.
It's how much lighter? 2 pounds and what? How many ounces?
Sorry, what was your question?
The arm that you use?
What are you saying?
In terms of a percentage?
No, in terms of weight. The weight. 9.38.
Right.
He's like, I can't
11.86,
follow
right?
your.
About 2.48.
And you're saying that makes no difference?
Not in the observed damage at those speeds, no.
Why didn't you use a 5-pound arm, sir?
I'm sorry, what was your
Why
question?
didn't you use a 5-pound arm?
Again,
He's like, wait,
I don't know
what?
that they make a 5-pound ATD arm.
You didn't tell us when you did these studies, you didn't disclose in your PowerPoint that you used an arm that was much lighter than Mr. O'Keefe's arm, did you?
I don't know that it
Maybe he
was,
had twin
I didn't give the
arms.
weight in the presentation, no.
Let's take a look at some of your testing. The first one was at 10 miles per hour, test A. You remember that test, right?
Yes.
Now, 10 miles per hour, if you had taken 26% off, would you agree it would change the actual speed from 10 miles per hour to 7.67 miles per hour? If you did out the math, if you did it specifically, accurately, precisely, would you agree, using the wrong arm, you make the deductions and the calculations, that 10 mile per hour test would actually be 7.67 miles per hour? Would you agree with that?
A little louder.
No, because again, the arm is going to get accelerated up to that speed. So that the speed would still, that mass would still be accelerated up to 10 miles per hour. Same thing in the vehicle testing. It's going to be, given that weight difference, it's going to be accelerated up
Is
to
it
that speed.
possible to talk to someone who's
Now,
talking nonsense?
Can we see the video?
Nonsense. He's talking nonsense. And Dr. Wolfe is like, I'm sorry, what? Colors Flight is also saying, what is happening? You'll have to go back and watch the whole day of testimony colors because yikes. AJ comes in swinging though on the redirect.
Video of test A, please. Now, this is your study, 10 miles per hour, you claim, with a arm that is 9.38 pounds, correct?
Correct.
Mr. O'Keefe, 11.86 pounds, yes?
Salty's
Yes.
back, yay.
Okay. Now, this light on the end of this, you're trying to replicate the light on the back of a Lexus?
Correct.
If a Lexus at 6,000 pounds hits a person, the Lexus isn't stopping
Bingo.
automatically, is it?
Auntie Baloney, bingo.
No, it would move at a common velocity with the arm.
It would continue to push forward through the arm, yes?
It may, yes.
And the arm can push into the light before the body turns, yes?
I don't know that I agree with that, no.
If the light on the Lexus, not at this speed, but if the light on a Lexus was broken or breaks and it hits the arm, it's not going to bounce off the arm. It's going to push through, isn't it?
It's
And
gonna
break
move
the
at a common
fucking arm, you
velocity with
idiot.
The arm.
And that will move not only the arm, it will move the person's body, won't it?
It may, yes.
It may push the body, it may throw the body.
I don't know about throw.
And the light, if broken, will continue to press against the arm until the separation. Isn't that fair to say?
It could, in some instances, again, it could bounce.
It could, because it's not always the same. It's a dynamic process, isn't it?
It is dynamic,
You
yes.
could do the test many times and get very different results, couldn't you?
I don't know that I agree with that.
Would you get the same result every time?
I think you would certainly get similar results.
Every time.
If you had the exact same impact location and speeds, yes.
Well, that's my point. What if the impact location moved a little bit? Could it change?
Well, is Dr. Welcher changing? I don't know if, again, I was relying on what he provided
This
in
is
his
not
report.
Dr. Welcher. I'm asking you. No, it's not.
Okay, so disregard that exchange between counsel. Next question.
If the body position changed, you may get a different result. Isn't that fair to say?
What are you saying?
I was going after what Dr. Welcher had represented in
That's
his
the
report
whole
analysis. So
point.
we did testing to analyze his orientation that he had demonstrated in his report.
You don't like that question either?
Jake, hi, good to see you.
If the body position changed,
Early in Perth.
it could change the result. True?
I don't know what you mean by body position. Do you mean the whole body, the arm? What part of the
Pause
body?
for a second,
Let's start
please, Ms. What the Fuck. Salty Sleuth investigates our 13th juror. First time watching the trial, also streaming the trial. So get on it. Give Salty Sleuth a subscribe. She's been coming on every fortnight after week 1, week 3, week 5, and tomorrow night, week 7 at 8 Eastern. We're going to have a chat to Salty. Salty, up until this point, has been fairly well on the fence, leaning to some questions about, like, I still need to hear more from you, Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth didn't ever give you any more. I think we'll find when we chat tomorrow night. Interesting. Such an ass, and Bev is the devil. I guess that's a foreshadowing of what your thoughts might be tomorrow night, Salty.
So
What do you think?
excited to hear from you, Salty. I'm so excited.
Amen. Amen. 1 month, Butterfly. Can we make Hanky a crash test dummy? Motion granted. I'll allow it. Wait. Oh my God. I'm queuing up. It's terrible here.
I have 2 words. Do it. Do it. I'd love that.
And Holly Berry, getting ready for pre-gaming for Feral Friday, Holly Berry. Yes, tomorrow night with Salty. Salty's coming on our show. We've got 3 already under our belt of chatting after week 1, week 3, and week 5. And tomorrow, our next fortnightly update from Salty Sleuth Investigates, our very own 13th juror. It's been really interesting to talk to Salty along the way as to what she's seeing, what things have stuck in her brain, what has impacted her as far as witnesses, evidence or lack thereof. And so I'm really looking forward to know whether your tide has turned, Salty. We've tried really hard not to influence or try and strong arm, do a Commonwealth, do an MSP on Salty Sleuth Investigates to try and influence her. I mean, I'm sure I know some of Salty's mods and chatters watched the first trial in her own chat, and so I've given her some background stuff. But along the way, she's mostly been trying to view the trial as a 13th juror. So I'm really looking forward to that tomorrow night. And then on Sunday night, Tony P and Colours Flight are going to join me for just with almost no what's the word I'm trying? Just an open, organic conversation about wherever it may go. Colours has done some research on things. She's got some theories. I'm sure Tony does too. Looking forward to that. That's 9 Eastern on Sunday night. So let's keep going with Dr. Wolfe. Yes, excellent.
The arm. If the arm position changes, it could change the result, couldn't it?
Well, I'm not aware of any other orientation that Dr. Welcher provided in his analysis report as to alternative orientations.
If the arm position
bring that
changed,
hat.
Could it change the result?
That'd be awesome, Sammy. We'd love to have you around.
Yes, I mean, I presume if you don't have your arm on the tail
There's
light,
so
then
much to
yes,
watch
you'll
YouTube,
probably get a different
Sammy.
result.
What if it's bent in a different way? Could that change the result?
Again, I haven't reviewed anything that indicates that there was a different orientation that Dr. Welcher suggested.
You're a scientist, right? You can think. I'm asking you. Just a general question.
No,
Over here.
Steve. Thank you
If
for the gift.
bend the arm, could it change the
Love
result?
you. Free Karen Reed.
It could.
Thank you. Okay.
100%.
When a person, a pedestrian is struck, they are not held stationary on a harness, are they?
No.
In this case, the crash test dummy is on a harness,
Yes, he's supported.
strapped
Yes.
by his hips or pelvis.
Yes.
That's not real life. That's not how a pedestrian is usually when they're hit, right? They're not strapped to a harness, are they?
Excellent.
No, and again, the purpose of this test was to evaluate the arm. We're not looking at the whole body here with this test.
And when we talk about injuries, part of injuries is not just the impact, it's the drag, in this case, from the car, isn't it?
It could be, yes.
But when
Pause, please, Ms. What the fuck? You read my mind. Micah says, I just did some calculations, technological. The 26% difference in the weight of the arm that Hank is harping on about results in only a 0.0403% difference in force. Lol. I love that. Oh, Tony, Lord have mercy. Super math power. That's way too mathy math for me. That's why we have other different brains in the chat, so we can cover all bases, right? All right, Dr. Wolfe, cover my base. Woo!
you put the dummy on a harness, restricting or restraining its movement, it is not going to replicate hitting somebody in their movement, including the drag, is it?
You're a
I don't
drag.
know that I
Hank.
agree with that, because it will replicate, again, when we're talking about that impact pulse of 10 milliseconds, it will replicate that. And that's That's
Hi.
ultimately what we're after, is what's happening in that 10 millisecond window in terms of the contact and the damage and the acceleration.
I know that's what you're after. What I'm asking you is when you end it, when the light stops, unlike a Lexus, and the dummy is stationary, unlike a person, it affects the aftermath, the drag and the push after, doesn't it?
Yes, the kinematics would be different, likely if it's not restrained like that.
In real
Struggle
life,
puddle,
pedestrian usually is not restrained.
For
are they?
Randy.
Correct.
In real life, a 6,000-pound Lexus, upon contact with an arm, doesn't usually stop on a dime, does it?
No.
Can I have the photo from test A, please? And so there is no break, but there's a crack in this light that was a result of this experiment where this light hits that restrained dummy, yes?
Yes.
And this is at 10 miles per hour in your world and 7.67 if you take off the 26% weight.
Standards to that form.
No shit, Bev. 100% sustained, I
Move to
hear.
test B, please.
Oh, no, wait. That's the other way. Duh.
Now, this
Me.
test B,
Sorry,
similar test, it has the same limitations, doesn't it? This dummy is restrained at the pelvis.
Yes.
Could you show the video, please? There's two videos. We can see the first one. And was the dummy restrained by its head as well?
Yes.
Was its arm restrained in any way?
It was tethered, but it was free to move.
This test you have at 17 miles per hour with the arm that's 9.38 pounds. Mr. O'Keefe, 11.86 pound arm. If you consider that 26% difference, wouldn't it be fair to say that this test, rather than replicate 17 miles per hour, would actually replicate 12.6 miles per hour?
No, can you answer that?
Not the way it's phrased, no.
So looking at this test,
Not the
test
way
B,
you said
which
it.
You say is 17 miles per hour. Can you do a calculation of the 26% difference, or is that something that you don't think is fair?
I don't think that'd be a fair way to characterize it. Again, if no matter what the mass is there, if you're accelerating it, if you're impacting at 17, that arm is going to move at
He
17.
literally does colors.
Well, not just the movement, the damage.
So
If this
show,
arm was
so
5
performative.
pounds, do you think the test would have the same exact result?
If it's 5 pounds,
Yes,
probably would be less damage.
it'd be less damage. So to get this amount of damage, you'd have to increase the weight, right?
Sorry, what was your question?
To get this amount of damage, you couldn't use a 5 pound arm. There'd be less damage with a 5
He
pound
does it
arm.
intentionally.
Correct.
Because the less weight you use, the less damage at that speed. That's
Correct.
basically how it works.
Correct.
Okay. So in this test, if we could run that back again, you have a restrained dummy at the hips and the head. There's no follow through of the light.
I'm sorry, did you see that look?
No, could you go back? I'm thinking about. It's just wild. Go show me. Was it like a what the what?
He looks at the jury like, oh.
I'll have to make it into a short. Okay, what's the timestamp?
You have a restrained dummy at the hips and the head.
Someone can write it down.
There's
for me,
no
that'd be
follow
great.
through of the light or the body that's attached to that arm, correct? And at this speed, you can see the shard
I think I have it
of
so
the
fast.
light or the body that's attached to that arm, correct? And at this speed, you can see the shards of
I'm going too
or
fast. Here
hips.
we go. Let me go back a little
So,
farther.
in this test, if we could run that back again, you have a restrained
trying
dummy
so
at the
hard.
hips and the head.
Yeah.
There's no follow through.
There we go.
The light or the body that's
What is
attached to that
wrong
arm,
with
correct?
this guy?
He's like, fuck you, just snuck a little sneaky. It looked like, I'm sure that all the jurors were like, oh, wow. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's hilarious.
And at this speed, you can see the shards of taillight.
Sammy, there is a way. Pause for a sec. What the fuck, please? You have to go to YouTube through your browser on your phone. There is a way. But thank you. If someone can drop the memberships link and then you go through your browser rather than through the app, something like that, I think. Yes, he is looking like that. Like, are you guys seeing this? Yes, Sammy, I'll shoot you a text after Discord.
You can see them move, can't you?
When you say
and rolled his
move, you
arm
mean just-
into it.
Not stationary.
Yeah, I mean they're moving from the taillight as they break.
Detached from the taillight.
Correct, they're
And
broken.
that could create a debris field, yes?
Yes.
And you can see them floating in the air, some of them actually floating and then touching the sweater. Do you see that?
Possibly. Some of it might be, again, some of that polyurethane foam.
Yeah, some might be. And why don't we play it again so we can see clearly? Some might be taillight shards too, right? That black object spinning, that's not poly foam, is it?
No, it would not be.
That'd be taillight shard, right?
Correct.
And so
The antis
even
love
at
this. The antis love
see
this. The
in
antis
this
are
type of
like on
collision-
Twitter. They're like, "Oh my god, the best thing to happen to the Commonwealth was all those little bits of microscopic." Blah, 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 blah." Yeah, but did we see what happened? And also the picture of the road rash on the sleeve of the hoodie. They're going wild for it. Like, oh my god, these people. Most of it is foam. Tony, that's foam, not actually taillight pieces. Right.
and there is significant, bless you, significant
Bless
amount
you.
of
Oh,
By the
wait.
way, that was Yannetti.
Oh, was that Yannetti sneezing or Yannetti said bless you?
That
No,
was
Hank said
Yannetti
bless you.
sneezing.
Oh,
And then
how do you
Hank
do that?
says bless you.
Do you know Yannetti so well that you know the sound of his sneezes?
I would say yes, just because, but no. No. I saw it on Twitter. It was so cute.
Oh.
Apparently he has allergies.
He is so sweet. How about the other day? The other day we'll go over it tomorrow night. But when Yannetti kept having to clear his throat, the poor bastard. Fuck, I felt that in my soul and in my brain. I was going, "Let me clear my throat," and he's like, "Sorry." He's like, "Sorry, I just have to clear my throat." I'm like, "Sir, have you been eating cheese?" Oh God. Will we go up to we'll wrap it up in a minute. Well, because Steve will be running late. It's fine. We'll give it another maybe 5 minutes and then Chat is Bay and then it's Feral Friday Publicly Buzzed. We're watching Frank and Hooker starting on YouTube, then heading over to Kick. It'll be a real fun time to get totally feral. I'm looking forward to this one. Me and Steve, I've been on Feral Friday Publicly Buzzed, I don't know, probably 6 times now. And then tomorrow night on Kick on my channel, Miss Shorty Delight, we're watching the last 2 episodes of A Body in the Snow. That's like 9:30 Eastern. It's dynamic.
Taillight shards that are broken from the taillight and spewed into the air, yes?
Well, I think on the one of the slides I had, I think I showed the fragments that were left. And from what I recall, I think there was 4 pieces from the taillight, from the lens.
If you could put that back a little so Dr. Wolfe can see it again to the point of the collision. Even at this speed, go ahead. Stop. You can see pieces, large, small, medium, maybe even microscopic, are now breaking off from that taillight and being littered.
Pause. Oh, Pammy sent a cash app. Thank you so much, Pammy. Wait, Pammy, amazing. Wait, me and my everything. Thank you so much for the $20 cash app. That's really sweet of you. Wait.
Motherfucker's money if he giving it away. Shit.
You know, like I want to think that I'm a YouTube professional, but it's not.
Well,
This will.
how did you get my digits? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark,
Pammy.
question mark.
Thank you so much, Pammy. You're in the draw. We'll do that in a week or two. Nick Francis is off camping this weekend. He won last weekend. And Akasha, have you emailed me for your Kick prize? Anyway, back to the testimony.
Into the air, aren't they?
Yes, there are pieces coming off.
If we can go to test C, please. Now, in test C, you actually use only an arm. Isn't that fair to say?
Correct.
You don't use a body or a crash.
This actually might be a good place to break
Yeah.
for tomorrow.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So, thank you, motion to scream. What the fuck, granted. Wait, Pammy. Come back. Say goodbye. Wait.
Bye.
There. Bye. You're the best. Well, chat, thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Shit. Wait, let me just do that one for you. Shit. We'll cover, so tomorrow night, starting at 5 Eastern American time, which is 7 a.m. my time. I'll probably be late. Just saying. You know me. That's very fucking early. Goodbye, Catherine. Thank you, Catherine. We'll do a recap of the rest of the week testimony, and we'll finish up with AJ's redirect and any other Hank shit. Nah, my Hank shit. So big weekend on the cards of Camp Shorty. Sunday night as well. So we've got tomorrow night recap from 5. From 8, Salty Sleuth investigates our 13th juror. From 9:30 on YouTube, we're going to pre-game for A Body in the Snow, the last 2 episodes, our part 2 of that watch party. And then head over to Kick. Sunday night, Tony and Colours Flight are going to come on, and we're going to put our tinfoil hats on. Colours has got graphs and pictures, I think she told me. So it's a whole thing. I'm so excited. But for now, head on over to Publicly Buzzed Feral Friday on YouTube, and then we'll head over to Kick. Thank you so much for your thoughts, your humor, your patience, your gifted membership, super chats, Cash App. Thank you so much. Let me do 1 or 2 more little things. Let's go with this one, of course. Wait. That I'm a professional. And of course, Chat is Bay. I love you all very much. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Motion to Scream. What the fuck, granted. See you all over at Publicly Buzzed. Yes, time to get feral. Free Karen Reed, right? Crash Daddies. Free Karen Reed. She's not guilty on all 3 counts. Faith.
I love you all so very much. We had a blast, just chatting and stuff. Things may have gone a bit off the rails. Professional when all else fails. 'Cause chat is babe, so much to say. Emotes and all the caps out. May have been cheese, bit faster please. The time has come, Camp Shorty out. We're skating through all the tough things, learning about this and that, defense motions, prosecution, and narcissistic twats. 'Cause chat is babe, so much to say. Emotes and all the all caps out. May have been cheese, bit faster please. The time has come, Camp Shorty out. Community, just you and me. Occasionally, Buster and Poppy. It's a whole thing, Miss Shorty swing. Together we make each other happy. 'Cause chat is